Mm, 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 mm.
Okay, so I think it is finally working on the YouTubes, and it is. Look at God. Won't he do it? Just Oh my God. Okay, okay, so now that we are officially streaming, okay, so I can see myself there. Um, it's behind a little bit because, internet wants to do whatever the fuck it wants to do. It is what it is. It is what it is, okay? So the good part is that we're live and we're here. So let me go ahead
Amen.
and get us started off. So, how do I start my damn podcast? Oh my God, it's been so long. And I haven't even
Now
started
that
drinking yet.
that's
Hey,
a
look.
shame.
So meanwhile, mine is getting warm.
Oh, as you should, as you should. Okay. All right. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Holy Podcast, where we step out and speak on sexuality. This is your favorite host, Vernon T. Scott, also known as Slater Jackson, and for you freaky motherfuckers out there, Sebastian Adams. On today's episode, it's kind of, I guess, a special event. It is Hovember. I know I have not been doing any kind of Hovember shit at all this year because a nigga's been busy, okay? A nigga has been extremely busy. But yeah, it's November, a time to celebrate, even though motherfuckers may be depressed, and we'll get to that in a second. And as you can see, we're live on the YouTubes and other places, and I am blessed to have Nicole and Kristen with me today. So, how are y'all doing? Before we get into depressing things, how are y'all doing today?
I'm making it as best I can. Look,
One day at a time, one moment at a time sometimes. Just,
one foot at a
taking off the
time.
cape is hard. Taking off the cape is hard, but you know what? This is the perfect time because, it's finally getting cooler outside. So the desire to get cuddled up and comfy is
Mm.
already there. Y'all just made it easy. You take this cape off and bundle up real quick.
Listen, listen, Lord knows I love a good cuddle season. I was talking to a friend the other day and I was like, the one thing that sucks, because it's been a draft. Oh, sorry, not a draft, a drought. And a nigga's just like, "Hmm, there's that itch I needed to be scratched, and where y'all at?" And I was like, I blame climate change because it's too hot. It's supposed to be
It's
cuddle
hot.
season. People supposed to be coming together, but
Hmm.
it's too hot to be cuddling. I got all the fluff and nothing
Exactly.
to give it to because it's hot as fuck right now. Like, come on.
Right. You still saying get off me.
Okay. I don't need you. You too close. You too close. Put this AC on like 65, 50, or whatever the fuck. Then we can manifest a damn cuddle season in this room. But
Oh my goodness.
outside it's too hot.
It's hot inside, outside. I tell my partner all the time, I do not like to cuddle. We could do it for a few seconds, and then it's like your side, my side. That's it.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Jesus. All right. So to start off, let's do a little bit of introductions. Of course, my name is Vernon. I'm the host of the show. For those who are new, haven't heard of this show before, and just like, who the fuck are these motherfuckers? I saw this Eventbrite. I said, I go. Whatever the case may be, welcome. Happy to have you. But who is this nigga? So my name is Vernon Scott. Again, I'm the host of the Holy Liquid Podcast. I am well, I was about to say sex coach, but I guess I can still say it. Sex coach, sex enthusiast, sex educator, a marriage and family therapist intern who is training to be a sex therapist. I'm all these great things. I wrote a book. I'm just here to be great and queer. You know what? Be happy. So that is me. Nicole, who are you? And then Kristen, who are you? Who the fuck are you people?
Well, my name is Nicole Waldron. If you're new here, I've been on the show several times already, so I think people know who I am for the
She's
most part.
bragging. She's bragging.
But I am, but I'm the owner of Melanated Vixen LLC. Basically, sex coaching, intimacy and relationship coaching, education, sex enthusiast, like Vernon said as well. But just to dispel myths and help people have better and healthier sex and love lives in general. That's me.
Yay. Kristen.
Well, it's only like my third day out here. No kidding. Hi, I'm Kristen. This is my first show, so cherry is getting popped, I guess you could say. I am a
Yes.
social
Yes.
worker by
We love a
trade.
version.
I'm a social worker by trade, so I work closely with a lot of marginalized populations. I specialize in LGBTQIA plus adolescents, as well as refugees and immigrants. That's really my soft spot. So I really enjoy just working with persons of color as it relates to sexual identity and navigating spirituality, all of the sorts. So I'm excited to be here.
Yay. So we have some
Right.
amazing and special motherfuckers on this podcast today. Love to see it.
Hey.
So, as we know, the episode in itself is called Election Aftercare. So there's been a lot going on, and I know some people don't are wanting to talk about the downside of what's going on, and I'm not going to make you suffer through that. So what I'm going to do, we're going to talk about it, of course. What you can do is just come back at a later time around 6:40, because I'm going to do a little hard stop on that. For those who are listening, I don't know where that timestamp is going to be, so you just go ahead and just when it's post, find the time, okay? When we're not talking about the election. So right now it's like 6:16. So do the math. 6:16 minus 6:40. You figure that out. All right. So um how the fuck did we end up here? Oh my fucking goodness.
Good.
Oh, to say depressed is not a totality of how I felt on Wednesday. I just woke up and I was like, I'm in 2016 again, nigga. Oh, is this where I really want to be? Is it? I'm angry. I am sad. I see these numbers. I want to cry. I need to cry. I
Mhm.
feel hopeless. I feel defeated. I feel all these emotions. I'm overwhelmed. Like a nigga only had like not even a full 90 minutes of sleep because I tried to go to sleep around 5 a.m. Then that didn't work. Somewhere I faded off, and then I woke back up because my alarm went off because I had a 10 o'clock appointment. I need to get ready to that for that, so I had to put myself in the mindset of you have to be a therapist. It's not about you. It's about whatever your client needs. Forget your needs right now. Be there for them. You know they're going to talk about this. Get ready and make
Right.
this damn day. Oh, it was rough. What was y'all's reaction?
I cried more than once. And I think this is really the first election where it has hit me as hard. Um, and I think because I really saw myself in a candidate for once.
Mm,
And not only just knowing what that would look like, but being in a position where my child was able to see it, and really just re-emphasizing that as a black woman or a person of color, we can have our seat at our own tables, and figure out whether or not we want people to sit at our tables. So often, so many times, it's like we're proving ourselves to be invited in certain rooms. And so with her running, it was very significant for me because it really just honed in on the fact that, whether they want me at their table or not, I can create my own. And so I think it really highlighted that you see us. You might not want to see us, but you see us and you know we're here and it's a force to be reckoned with. And I think that honestly had people shaking in their boots.
mm,
And I'm a
that's
sip on
real.
that.
That's real. No, I get
Um,
that.
no, that's all true and all fair too. Yeah, I align with that too. I mean, I wasn't. or at least I'm not claiming to be depressed, but it was like that state of like the shock, the disbelief, the disappointment, despair, um, like hopelessness, and just like that fear that just like, oh my God, like what do we do now? What do we do next? Like, and of course, like getting into that, I guess, fight or flight mode for real. Like, like definitely the fight part, I think, of like, okay, we know what's about to happen. We need to start working like right now, today, but also like not like those feelings, those heavy ass feelings on top of it. And you're just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go, which again just kind of like exacerbates like the fearful feelings and thoughts and stuff like that. So like definitely going through it. It was almost like going through stages of, well, I mean, it was stages of grief essentially.
Mhm.
And just talking to other people and seeing that other people were feeling the same way. So I mean, in a sense, it was kind of like, okay, it's not just me, but also like what do we do next? But I like that we had enough people that were just like, hey, let's pause for a minute. It's okay to feel this, feel your feelings, process them. We gonna get there. And just to be like uplifting and really like creating space for each other for that. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I think that's really that I really like that I was able to see that. But I was feeling a lot of those same things, just like, what should I do?
Right.
My passport I know is good, but I need to update it. Do I need to go do this? Like, where can I live that's safe? Is it
Mhm.
and just a different part of the country thing, or should I just leave the country altogether? Am I reasonably ready? Like a million questions. So it was like not getting sleep for a while, not getting good sleep for a while, because every time you see a post about something, even if you don't read the whole thing, it's like you're reminded, and it just puts you back into like, what am I gonna do next? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a roller coaster for sure.
Right. And I think the thing that really set it off for me is just the number of people. Like that popular vote thing really stood out for me. And
Yeah,
like I felt like I was being lied to this entire time. Like it seems as though the way that the narrative has been that, oh, we're going this direction, that we have a collection of people, a whole community of people who see that this is not the best route for us, that
right,
have unity in that understanding, that we get that this is not going to be the thing that's really going to be the mindset of what this country is supposed to be. And then we get those results, and it's just like, all y'all motherfuckers,
Oh, y'all.
right.
all
Oh,
of
yeah.
y'all. And it really got me because I thought back to like 2020, and even then I was like, this is a large number of people. But at the same time, we had a stronger number of people who also voted, who was also like, no, nigga, we can't have this happening. Like
Right.
all of these people who were in support of a change for the direction of the country to go in. And now it's like, one, what happened to those people?
Hmm.
'Cause, like, and I don't want to be in a space of, like, shaming people who didn't vote or whatever, or people, who chose third party or whatever, because whatever your decision is, but I still would have thought that there was enough in terms of, like, a conscious decision for well-being, that it will outweigh the hatred, and then to see that the hatred was the stronger of the 2 is like, is there a place for me here anymore? It's like I've already been planning my move, to be honest, because I had it until 2027. But after this, it's like, hmm,
I'm gonna have
let's
to
Push
go
it
move
ahead
back.
that
and
up.
pull some things back. Like, let's go ahead and make this more immediate. And I didn't want to think that we will be in this place where hatred won again. Like in 2016, it made sense to me that we got there, and even the mental delusion I had to put myself in to thrive through that, to survive through that. And I'm just like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to convince myself, like I had to do in 2016, that this is a reality TV show. You are removed from this, that you um are not a part of all this foolishness just to have to relive that again. I don't want to do that, right? And it's like, do I want to choose to stand and advocate as I continue to do, or well, within this country, or should I just do that from afar, right? So that's one of the things I've been like trying to tackle these last couple of days to try to figure some things out. What's what kind of plans do y'all have for yourselves, if any?
You said what kind of plan?
Um,
Hmm.
Go ahead. I'm still thinking. I'm
I
still
mean,
thinking.
I'm still kind of thinking too. Like, I mean, part of it was, I mean, Vernon, you and I have talked about me moving from where I am for a while now, or at least, I've expressed I'm leaving for several reasons. Like this red state shit, it's just not for me. Like I'm originally from New York. I'm originally from a blue state, a democratic, typically democratic state. So coming to Arizona and seeing how things are different, especially when it comes to um, government provided programs or resources, or just resources in general, or that are for the people in different ways and not just like this collective bucket with a few different things in it, to say like, oh yeah, we've got programs for people. Like, no, it's not even it doesn't compare. So I'm like, I need to go someplace else where, that is a thing. Like there's resources, not that I need it, but if it's needed, at least I want to know that it's present. But also diversity and countless other things. So I've already been talking about that. So I at first I was thinking that like maybe I'll go to like Georgia or somewhere else. I mean, yes,
Don't
I
come
know
here.
those are red states, but
Don't come here.
huh?
I said, don't come here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's been a long time. I thought about it for a long time, so clearly I wasn't supposed to be there. But it was just one of those like I want to move for different reasons, but like over the past year, it's been more and more just like I need more than just the things that I had a list about. It really is about being able to get the resources and support that you need when you need them. And I
Hmm.
already know that they don't have a lot of that stuff here, and it just, the different things that happen in my life that I see to other people, or even to me, I'm just like I can't I don't feel good here. I need to go someplace else where I know people actually care a little bit. So I don't know. I mean, I might move to a blue state. We'll see. Out of the country, it's a hefty option, and I just don't know if I'm ready for it. So it
Hmm.
might be like a longer plan like you had. And then other than that, I mean, be really focus more on like the change that I want to see, and working with other people who are trying to do the same thing. Like building ourselves up as a community, supporting the people that truly need support and may not be able to get it as easily when things happen next year. So I don't know, just try to be there for people in the right way. Be really more intentional about who those people are and what they serve.
Mm.
I guess
Ooh.
like I agree with you all, and I think my take on it is like I'm born and raised here in Georgia, so red state. Um, but I think I'm also in a bubble, like in the metropolitan area. Our biggest counties, DeKalb and Fulton. It's a lot of us, and not only just African Americans, but you will also see queer individuals. Um, and so being in that bubble kind of like shields me in a sense from some of the stuff that is going on in smaller or rural counties within Georgia that really help turn it red. Not to say there is not issues here in Atlanta as it relates to racism and those things, they're still here and they're very much present. But I think when you see more people that look like you, um, it's easier in a way to kind of forget or put on your blinders. But then the scary part about that is there's still a very much a reality. So as you navigate through Atlanta, you might go through places where you really shouldn't be or you're not wanted there. And somebody will always remind you that technically you
Mhm.
should just be passing through and on to your next destination. Um, but for me, also at the same time, I'm scary when it comes to really leaving, especially going to another country. Just the fear of the unknown, not being able to speak the language. There are certain
Yeah.
things that I know would just continue to cause me anxiety. Whereas here, I feel like just growing up as a African American, code switching has been like something that has really been like instilled in us since childhood, that we know when
Mhm.
we're out in certain parts or you get pulled over by the police, there's a certain code of ethic, as you will, that you need to adhere to when dealing with figures in authority. So it's the sad reality because that
Mhm.
is really us being conditioned in a way that they want us to, honestly, and that's a truth that I'm really kind of admitting here in this forum. So I appreciate the vulnerability already, but yeah, I didn't know if I was go look I didn't know I was going to go that deep. I was keeping it real
Okay.
surface level. But yeah.
No, that's real. And like, I just think about the coping mechanisms that we develop in order to survive, especially here in Georgia. Like, I tell people often, like, I like my races to be upfront and honest about it. I like to see your Confederate flag. Low key, I like to see your UGA uh paraphernalia because a lot of times it's kind of linked with that Confederate flag. So it's like I like to know what spaces I'm getting myself into.
Mm,
But same time, and that's because I've been here, I lived here, and I got to experience the overt and covert racism, right? That a lot of people, especially those who are on the coast, are not used to experiencing. So, yeah, you're going to be shocked when you see it. To me, no. Like that's why. Like if think back on on the day of, or even throughout this past year, whenever racist shit happens, I see so many posts saying, "I'm I'm shocked, but not surprised, because we are holding an expectation, hope for a different change, but we also know the reality that we live in, especially here in Georgia. Like, I know that I cannot just be driving wherever I wanna go if I wanna go to Forsyth County or Forsyth, Georgia. I can't just go anywhere I wanna go. I need to be close to that interstate, get my gas, and get the fuck out, right? Because if I go too deep, a motherfucker might not be coming out. It's that serious in this state, right? Like, we've we know like, I don't drive through Alabama. I don't drive through Mississippi. If I have to go through there, my gas tank is full, and I know if I have to pass through Alabama, I need to choose a route that goes through Montgomery or Birmingham, where I will gas up and fill the fuck up. I do not stop at random spots in Florida. Only place I'm gonna stop at is at my destination. Like, this is the stuff that we have to think about, and then on top of that, we're now in an environment where people are their racism is extremely normalized once again. They are given the permission to be as racist as they want, and they've gotten the validation that their racism is okay solely because of what results came out of this election. And it's like, how do I now again become comfortable with that after having to I don't know how to put it, but it's like some of the things I've done for myself, with trying to work through all the racial biases that, have been put on us as a people is that I, chose to experience my joy in spite of white people being uncomfortable with that. That I've chosen to be proud, be happy, and I know a proud black man is scary to those who want to oppress us. And it's like I want to live out loud and proud. And I don't know. I'm losing my words. uh, Anyways, my friend Sin is here, so I was going to bring him on to continue this conversation, but I also don't know if he wants to talk about this because he told me he did not want to talk about these things. I sent him a text message messaging this thing, and he's not even responding. I see you laughing, nigga. I see you laughing. So I'm going to bring him up now.
Me, I'm sorry. Oh, hey. I didn't even see, I didn't, because I've been trying to get into it. I'm sorry I'm late, you guys. Can you see me and hear me?
You're good.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, okay.
Well,
Could y'all see me
welcome.
the whole time? Because I was like struggling trying to get into it.
Oh, I could. I saw you.
No worries. Okay.
That's
Well, first of all, how are y'all doing?
we're
I
Well,
making
think
it.
the consensus is
yeah.
we're making it.
The
Yeah.
get, regardless, yeah, regardless of the odds, I
Day
hear
by
you.
day.
Baby steps, literally. Um,
How are
Hmm.
you doing?
I'm okay. I'm in a little bit of shock because I'm just now kind of getting back into the loop. The reason I was saying that I would prefer not to speak on it because I didn't know really what to say anymore. I don't have the
Mm,
words anymore for the state and the climate that we continue to find ourselves in. Even though I know that the pendulum has to swing both ways. It has to be kind of shitty for it to get to where we need it to be. So what had happened was I'm in Georgia now by like a year. I moved here a year ago. I didn't know that this was a red state. Um, but I'm from South Carolina, and I ended up having to do the absentee ballot. So I sent them down the thing to send me the stuff for the ballot, and they never sent it. So I didn't even get to vote.
mm.
So I'm already in
Dang.
like a little bit of like a conspiracy, like something's going
Yeah.
on. You know what I mean? And I know it takes time to know these things, but I've been kind of in my own sphere where I haven't had to really see any news. I haven't been on social media. I still don't fully know the verdict, to be honest. I've seen a couple of memes that were like, okay, that's what we're doing. But other than that, it's been kind of in the dark. I've been kind of staying out of it because I could see where it was going. Um, so I'm kind of just here to get the news. You guys are the news for me. Get the
Oh
scoop.
Lord. Do you really want to know where we are?
I kind of know. I kind of know. I've seen here and there, but I don't know for um, what reasons, for why. How do we get here, guys?
Racism is
Yeah,
strong
that's.
in this country.
I
I
didn't
did
want to
not
interrupt y'all,
think
but hell yeah.
it's a powerful drug, and motherfuckers love taking it.
Absolutely.
Privilege is another drug that a lot of motherfuckers love, and I think that's exactly what those results tell us: is that people will rather uphold their privilege over disenfranchised groups versus relinquishing some of that for everybody to be happy, as though not everybody is given that right to what we call the American dream, and they want to hold that for themselves. So yeah, we want to deport. Yeah, we want to put the queer folks back in the closet. Yeah, we want to oppress the black people. Yeah, we want to scream out white power, even if we know that white power is going to disadvantage us. That's what we are.
And on
I
that
want to
note,
say, yeah, I think you're doing good staying off of social media as well as just kind of like reducing the election coverage that you're
absolutely.
exposing yourself to because it is disheartening.
Mhm.
And it's almost like we are giving a stage for people to be misogynistic, for people to be racist. And this election has really set the precedent to say it's okay, and you can be these things out loud, and we keep going with our heads kind of down thinking I don't know if the person I'm sitting next to is a big who supporter and what are their true feelings about sharing this seat with me. um,
Yeah.
it started, the harsh reality started within like 24 hours. My child, as well as several other kids that go to urban schools around the US, received a
Mm.
text message basically threatening to say, we will be there to pick you up at like 6 or 7 in the morning in like a black or brown SUV to take you to the field for you to pick cotton for
What?
75 cents.
Mhm.
Children got
Oh
these
my God.
messages, meaning that there are people tapped into certain things where they know the numbers they're texting or calling are those of our children. Not just children, but children of color, children in urban areas where they know the most people are predominantly African Americans. And
What the
so
fuck?
this is something that's scary. Like this is like our true reality. And I think the biggest part for me was it had not even been a full 24 hours yet
Mhm.
before these messages started coming in, like in waves. You know, I think Michigan was another state that got them. It's several other than Georgia, but this is just like our reality. So I think really keeping yourself away from the coverage kind of helps prevent some of those conspiracy theories that are flying out.
Yeah.
I think another thing I've heard is about the KKK coming from North Carolina, I believe. And this was something that was spread out within Gwinnett County Sheriff Department, that this is something that's happening and they're
Yeah.
targeting Black women. So it's like really we're in a space right now where we have to filter between the bullshit, the real shit, and the shit that is bullshit but is really real on top of that, you know. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
how do you cut through those layers but also still conduct yourself accordingly every day, because we still got a job to do, we still got kids
Right.
that we got to pick
Like
up,
you
all
said,
these
code
things.
ship, code switch, exactly. My
Mhm.
Yeah,
God.
Yep.
yeah.
I'm going to cut in right quick for those who are coming back in at that 6:40 mark. I'm sorry, we have to continue this conversation. So find where we're not talking about this election because this is needed. Like, I'm sorry. We'll get to the real healing side of things soon, but this conversation is needed. So back to what I was going to respond to in that. No, like the first time I saw that text message that was going around was from a friend who posted that his daughter got that, and that was around 12. That was around noon on Wednesday when I saw
Mm-hmm,
that, and I'm like,
mm-hmm,
y'all work this fast, and also, how the fuck are you getting access to children's numbers? For
mm-hmm,
one,
Mhm.
like this is targeted. Like to be of people who claim to care so much about children, you attack children. To be like, I will forever say a woman, a person should not have to experience a trauma just to have autonomy over their body. Yet I see
Mhm.
so many people who's just like, oh yeah, against abortion except for in the cases of incest and rape and blah 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 blah. You can say that just to make yourself feel good, but you truly do not care. You don't work
mm-hmm.
with
Yep.
these people. You haven't worked. You don't even want to really fully conceptualize the things that you are saying for these people. Like, I, for one, have worked with people who have been victims of sexual assault, children as well. Like, even from my last job, my heart broke from one of the cases that I was working on, and it was this young boy, queer, who was assaulted by his cousin. His parents didn't believe him. His parents just blaming him. He even had a conversation with me because I was his advocate, and he was talking about how he feels bad that he even brought this up to his family, and that he felt as though nobody was ever going to even think that he's being truthful. And I had to let him know, you're here because someone believed you. You're here talking to these people because we actually do believe you. That officer who's working this case for you, she believes you and she wants to do everything in her power to make sure that you get the justice that you deserve. But we also live in this fuck ass country that's not going to provide you with the justice that you need. So what I really want to tell you is that now you actually have to focus on healing without ever getting the justice that you really deserve, because that's what the reality is. That's what a lot of victims have to deal with. And the thing that really scares me the most in recognizing these results is, and I somewhat happy I'm no longer working in rape crisis center, because I don't know if I will be able to handle the amount of cases that's going to come in soon. And I know they're going to come in. I know they're going to increase. because of what we have to do, what our country is right now. Like, part of the reason why I even focus on rape, and I haven't really told people this, but the reason why I chose to learn as much as I want to in terms of helping people heal from it, helping people recognize the signs of rape culture and all that is because when I was in high school, and this is besides like my own sexual trauma when I was a child, but when I was in high school, I saw articles upon articles of people in different countries in Africa who were being, women specifically, queer women being sexually assaulted and they're calling it corrective rape.
Hmm.
So now I'm thinking for our queer women in this country, where's their safety? Our little boys, our little girls, where's their safety? Our men in prisons, our our queer men, men in general, where's our safety going to be at?
Sad reality is we have to create it. And we
Yeah.
are the ones that are actually scared. we
Yeah.
we we need help. We need guidance. We need protection, but at the same time, it's like we have to do it for ourselves. I live in a community where we had to band together to like start our own neighborhood watch to just
Mhm,
kind of correct some of the behavior that was happening in our community. And we reached out to the police for help. We reached out to our HOA, and everybody just kinds of points fingers to somebody else so they don't have to deal with it. That's kind of where we are. And so now it's at a point where it's like, your kids ask you, can they go somewhere? No, you can't go. And I don't
mm-mm,
want to just give all this trauma to you and tell you, no, you can't go because I'm afraid that you might not come back, you know? Um, but it's like, how do we avoid sheltering them, but allowing them to have these real conversations and know the state of the country at this point so they are informed of the decisions they're making and being careful about the people they hang around as well as the places they're in. But then you also want to give them the opportunity to still be kids, to still just kind of
mhm,
enjoy life, to understand that this is where the land of opportunity is. And that's pretty much a loaded thing where we say, yes, this is the land of opportunity, but it depends on who you are and what your journey to opportunity looks like. It's a lot of closed doors. It's a lot of being spit on. It's a lot of you're not good enough to even walk through this space. So just really trying to like keep your heads up, I think is a big
mhm.
thing. And my boss actually said to me that, her plan was to kind of keep her head down. And that was something that resonated with me because as much as I understand what she was trying to say, that's not what a white woman should tell a black woman at a time like this, to keep my head down. And I'm going to
'Cause how
leave it with
can you?
that.
How can
How
you?
can you?
That's what they want.
Yeah.
That's what they
Right.
want.
A black woman
Right.
with her head down is still a target. A black woman with her
Very much
head
so.
held high is worse of a target
A black
because
woman
Hmm.
running for
a black
president,
a
worse
scary
Okay.
ass target.
target. You hear me? So
Hmm.
who are we? Mere mortals. Mm-mm-mm.
Exactly.
I feel like I'm the only one drinking.
Oh, no, girl, did you see this cup right here?
I'm like,
Because
I
y'all
got
see
my
him
vape.
sing off
40.
camera. He
I
refilled and
waited off of 40.
everything.
I waited off after 40. I was like,
Yeah,
it's
he
that
said,
time.
he filled that cup up, okay? Him and
Mm-mm-mm.
Taylor don't play.
Oh, you know, it's Taylor's cousin Black,
Oh,
Taylor
I
Black.
love
Yeah.
black.
Oh,
I love a little black in my
since
life.
since we know on this show, I'm a fan of Miss Stella Rose. So she has a brandy out.
Mm.
Oh,
This
she
girl
can't
right
take
here.
it to the
Oh,
cheeks. Oh no!
okay.
So you like it, is what you're saying?
Oh, I drink that one without any kind of beverage with it. So I
Oh,
have
Okay.
mixed because I do like
That's dangerous.
it is very dangerous. So by the end of this, I'm going to be fucked up. Okay.
Oh yes, yes, rightfully so.
more power to it.
Okay.
It's
I
funny
gotta
you
see
say
clients
by the
tomorrow.
end of this, you're going to be fucked up because that was one of the questions I kind of asked my partner, like, what is your election aftercare routine? She replies, smoking and drinking. And I said, you know what? I ain't even mad at you. Like, I think at this point, we all probably deserve it.
Yeah.
But, like, for those of us who can't overindulge in those things or even participate, like, what are things that we can do? And I find
Right.
myself just kind of like doing some me things, really just if that's putting on a face mask, closing my eyes and trying to like filter out the noise. But the hard reality is the noise is loud, y'all. It is loud and it's
Yeah.
in everywhere we go, everything we do. And I think that's one of the things where she said, I'm going to keep my head down. And I'm like, how can someone keep their head down when we can't change the color of our skin?
Mm,
We can't change how people perceive us. Um, and so these things that are constantly being instilled since we were very young, what they're teaching in school, all of these things are trying to ignore or erase certain parts of history. It's kind of hard because you say, but I'm a product of very much this history you're trying to pretty much get rid of. So now
right.
what? Who am I then? And I think we get to a scary part, whereas if we really allow them to continue erasing said identity, then we're going to become victims of whoever they want us to be.
Hmm.
What does that look like? These are just things
Exactly.
that kind of pop through my head.
Yeah.
And it's built into the algorithm. I understand exactly what you're saying. That's for me why I had to take a step back because it is a privilege for somebody that doesn't have to face, the minority of it all to then end up saying, to keep your head down. So maybe not keep your head down, but it's important to not become jaded because that's exactly what they want, exactly what you said, is to keep us, kind of under the thumb of oppression, which is not anywhere near what we need to um, kind of sink in or allow us to be indoctrinated by the dogmatic practices that they kind of systemically put into our phones.
Right.
So
Mm, yeah.
as shitty as it sounds, another thing that we have to be ripped away from, but it's very clear with even just the things that have come through the veil of me trying to stay away from social media, I can still see the racism, even when it's just like porn Twitter, stuff like that. It's embedded, it's there, so there's no way around it, unfortunately.
Right. I'm about to add another person. Shane has
It's full
joined the
house.
matchup.
Hey,
Hello,
Shane.
Shane. Shanette, Shanette. Sha-na-na-na. Hey, friend.
I knew it was coming. As soon as you said the Shinetti, I'm like, ooh, he about to. I've had an adventure with my full name. It's been a fun time. It's been a fun time.
Well, welcome to the depressing party. We'll get to the lit things too,
Oh,
but
sorry, my setup isn't the best because I was like, I'm so proud of you. He's like, you want to join? I'm literally laying on my couch in a bonnet and a moo. I'm like,
but you
hold
look
on,
good. But you look good.
hold on.
Listen, it's all mood. That's what I was telling him because usually when I'm with him, I'm like, let me put a little bit, at least a little minor face on, do my hair a little different, not wear some t-shirt or whatever, unless it's for whatever we're doing. And then I was just like, you know what? Let me just brush this up, this just make it a better bun because I feel like everybody's gonna feel the way that I'm feeling right now. Just fuck it, man. I'm here.
Mhm.
Just take me as I
Exactly.
am, like Mary said.
But I wanted I wanted to step back into that put your head down because the only thing I was thinking about hearing that was I don't see color, and that's essentially what I'm getting from that.
Oh, I
Like
love that phrase.
what you're telling me is just to ignore the things because by not seeing color, by putting my head down means I don't have to approach or confront the things that's really going on. Like, if we think about the Handmaid's Tales images that they continue to put out there, what is they doing? Their heads are down. So
Mhm.
what you're telling me is what our goal is to move and comply. That's what I'm hearing whenever you tell me to put my head down. What you're telling
Exactly.
me, shut the fuck up. You're not telling me to be a part of the change that we need to see. You're telling me I need to accept this and allow, rather than accept this and fight for a change. Because I can accept that the reality that we live in is not the reality that's special to me, but that does not mean that I have to be okay with it. And putting my head down is telling me, yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm just going to wade through the waters. That's it.
Mhm.
Mm.
It reminds me of like be afraid.
Hmm.
And I was Vernon, you met one of my parents. My parents are both very much I want to say what I say, regardless how it's going to come out and what's going to happen in the long run, because we got to fight. That's literally our motto. We're going. No one's going to whoop my ass. So we're going to be fighting out here. We're going to both ignore just going about our merry way. So like I refuse. Like my boyfriend is white. This man has been in a panic since the six. He's like, oh my god, if you're going to do this and that, I'm like, this your first time, buddy boy. I'm like, I'm 31. I've been dealing with this since I was one. Calm down, breathe, take a shot. We'll be fine. So
Listen,
like this whole like ever since the election, of course, like I was feeling the blues. I'm not gonna sit here and deny it. I was feeling the blues the morning of the sixth. It's like, oh my goodness, we're kind of fucked. American people have proven once again to the rest of the world that we are not that intelligent. It's already been a joke. It's already been a meme. If you ever travel overseas, they don't see America as very intelligent individuals. And November 5th, we kind of proved them right. So it's just, while I am worried about some aspects, but some of it's just like it's been like run the mill things we've already dealt with. It's just now people feel more brazen about it. My main concern, like my profession, I'm a librarian. I faced a lot of life ending decisions if they have their way. Like I could be forced to register as a sex offender just because I have books about sex ed on my shelves. That's my biggest fear. Like I can deal with the racism. I can deal with people being misogynistic. I'm a black woman in the South. That's nothing. Being registered as a sex offender with no clear definitive way if I can get off of it, I'm like my life would be absolutely ruined at that point.
hmm
That's my biggest fear. Like I can deal with the racism, I can deal with the misogyny. I can even deal with people like the well-meaning but high-key racist people. You know what I'm talking about? Like they're like they think they're saying something like
the white liberal. Hey, Martin Luther King said it first.
you right, you right, and then like so white liberals and white feminists like they think they're helping, but in the end of the day, they're not helping anyone but really themselves. Like I can deal with them, they're like a weird category. It's just the unknown for my profession. I'm like, I like what I do. I like being in education, but I don't want to be a sex offender.
Hmm.
I'm too pretty for that list. Hell no.
No, I
I'm
feel
like,
you.
oh no.
Like that's actually a conversation I was having with my therapy supervisor on Wednesday. I was telling her like, she asked me what's some of my concerns. I was like, girl, I don't know if we will be able to do our job because, girl, we work at a sex therapy clinic. Like, do you not know what's going on in Florida with the don't say gay bill and how they're trying to utilize that? I'm like, and on top of that, gender affirming care, we are a part of that process. Like, yeah, we're not doing any surgeries or anything like that, but the way that these laws are being written, they're very broad. They're not specific at all. And technically speaking, the stuff that we do, we are classified as sex workers. If we were living in California, we'll be considered sex workers. because we are doing work as it relates to sexuality. If you're a sex coach, sex therapist, you are a sex worker, right? So we fit under that umbrella. Are they going to deem what we're doing pornography and try to ban the work that we do? Are they going to limit the access of care that we provide to our transgender clients that come see us? Like, these are things that we really have to focus on and really try to develop, because we have to know how we're going to fight this fight. And I want to be there for my clients. I want to be there for them because they deserve quality care, and I provide that, bitch. So I want to be there for them, and I'd be damned if a motherfucker in the White House decides to say that I cannot.
Well, that's what they saying. So now what?
Hmm. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, especially with like the whole hoopla about contraceptives, like birth control and stuff like that, and especially like the morning after pill or any pill similar to it. I've been telling people like go on Amazon right now and just start buying some. Amazon sells them and they last for a year. Like they're not expired items. Like you can actually buy them on Amazon right now. There's some that require a prescription and there's others that do not.
Mhm.
So like I'm not gonna lie, I just bought a 6 pack. $28. Will I need all six the next year? Absolutely not. But who's gonna tell me what I can and cannot buy with my damn money? But
That
yeah,
part.
I've been sending people like if you need emergency like contraceptives right now, and if you're just not sure, you don't feel comfortable going to your doctor asking, Amazon has them right now, and there's other online people like resources that will send it out to you. They may be on the pricier side, but at least you have that access.
Yeah.
I've been directing them left, right, and center because the future about contraceptives is just very unclear, and like Vernon said, like a lot of the wording is very vague. So like they just say like insurances and companies can deny contraceptives based off religion and personal beliefs and stuff like that. But depending on the employee's religious beliefs, that's you're just infringing on other people's rights that are protected by our constitution. But
Mhm.
who cares about other people's rights if they're not white?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Like, I've been almost yearly since, like, 2012, been posting on Facebook, letting people know about a specific law in Georgia, that sodomy law, and what
Mm,
that law means. And right now, the only reason why that law cannot be enforced is because queer people have federal protections, right? To be themselves, to be able to express their sexualities however we want to do that. However, this little sodomy law, it lists exactly what sodomy includes. That includes
Mhm.
oral sex, that includes anal sex. Like, and y'all out here trying to hate on queer people and not recognizing that this law means that if queer people loses our rights, that if a officer knows that you're fucking their partner, and they just happen to pull up on you while you're doing that, that you can go to jail. It don't matter if you're straight or not. You're
Mm-hmm.
participating in sodomy. 'Cause, "Oh, I came in there, she was sucking his dick, he was eating her pussy," whatever the, breakdown is gonna look like, you're going to jail.
I'm 100% like convinced that a lot of these people who make these laws don't have sex.
Oh god, no, they don't. Not good sex, not
Like,
quality sex.
like we all remember Ben Shapiro's like
Oh, he ain't getting none.
his definition, like his
His wife
breakdown of
hates him.
WAP. We're like, why? Thank you so much for confirming what we all believe. Your wife is just
Misery
a
loves
figure.
company.
Wife ain't getting him not any bit of that dry cookie, Lord.
Shit, if it
Yeah.
was, and if she was, it's still dry because he was like, she said, you have a medical condition if you're that wet. I'm like, oh my God.
The women in
This
his life
man
are
doesn't
not
know how this shit
aroused.
works.
They're not aroused by him. You
I'm
see
like,
him.
oh my
He
God. Why, thank you for telling us your wife is unattracted to you.
Right. Once again, confirming what we all knew.
What we all do.
So that's what I'm so 100% just start calling these motherfuckers virgins. I'm like, shut up, virgin. Like you're probably going to Reddit mod right now on like 4chan hating on women because you ain't getting none. That's probably why you're passing these laws. If you can't have sex, neither can anyone else. I'm like, what kind of
Mhm.
dystopian future is this?
Right.
But yeah, like when you break down like some of like their laws and like how they like describe it and talk about, it, I'm like, do you know how sex works? Or have you ever had like a
No.
actual pleasurable experience with sex? Because if
Mm-mm.
you haven't, by all means, please go seek a therapist right now. Because I'm sorry that you went through that, but it's not the rest of our fault.
Mm-mm.
And these ones that you were saying, like, do they even know how to have sex? Probably not, because their state or whatever probably enacted that sex education is not mandatory, or they don't want sex education in those schools or anything like that. So, no, they probably don't know for real.
I got so lucky with my mama who was outrageously open about sex with her daughters and son. We knew more than we wanted to. By the time we hit puberty, we're like we know everything, but it's weird because it was our mom. Like our mom literally sat down. She was like, my mom literally tossed a con. Me and my older sister are 18 months apart. So like when she was giving, so our sex talk happened around the same time. She literally threw out a cucumber and a condom. Like we're gonna buckle up. We're about to hit this real quick. I'm like, what the fuck? Like that's what I grew up with, and I understand not a lot of people have that type of parent. So like I find myself feeling very fortunate that my mom is very sex positive. To this day, me, my sisters, and our mom can sit down and have a conversation about sex and like our experiences, and it's not awkward. Don't get me wrong. Do we still play up like, ugh, our mom is out here having sex with
Getting
our
that thing
stepdad? That's nasty.
Fucking.
going.
Mm-mm.
But
Right.
Throwing that
I
thing.
feel very, but I still feel very fortunate and grateful that my mom sat and was not afraid to talk to us about something that's how we were created. She was like, she literally said it'll be hypocritical of me to like not have this discussion with you when I literally have 4 kids. We're like, you know what? That's real talk. By all means, that's real. And she waited until we started going like hitting that puberty age. So she didn't start us early. So like, yeah, me and my sister, we got our periods on the earlier end of the like. I got mine at 9. My sister was 10 when we got our period. So we did our cycles early, but she waited a couple years later to actually sit down and tell us about sex because she wanted because when you first go through your period, it's a rough ride. She didn't want to bombard us. She literally was like, I was 13 when she actually sat down and talked to me about sex and like all the things like know how to say no. You don't feel, okay, yeah, 13. A lot of people sound early, but my mom wanted us to understand it first before we encountered it. So like I feel like everyone should have that type of education, even if it's not from their parent. It should be from like a professional or someone
Mhm.
who is trusted to actually have that conversation. Like if I had a kid and I knew like I couldn't give them the proper talk, I'm like Vernon, I beseech you to have this discussion with my kids because I would trust Vernon to teach my kids right. So like I feel like we just need an overall education reform because I'm getting tired of people, and it's not easy because it's our community that's having babies at the early age and mothers dying young or mother and baby are dying young. So it's
Mhm.
just I feel like we need better education because I'm getting tired of these old white men telling me about what me and my boyfriend can do in the bedroom at any time today.
And and that's the interesting thing about like I don't know if they recognize how much they're telling about themselves whenever they come out here and make
Mm.
these statements. Because I'm just like, I didn't need to know this about you, right? Like, I didn't need to know that you're not having a good time when you go to bed. I didn't even need to know that you're that deep into trans porn. I just, I did not need to know. Like, I be
Right.
listening to some of these politicians. I'm just like, how the fuck do you know about this? Like, what is going on? Like, I have friends who are trans. And I don't even be knowing half the shit that y'all be knowing. And y'all be incorrect on the facts, but like be so deep in the details. Like, where's what's going on? What's the real tea?
Somebody doing something in secret.
Okay.
Hmm.
Y'all
Happened to
heard
Mark. They get what was that escort site that got hacked?
a escort got
Um,
hacked?
Yes, because it exposed like a lot of politicians and even like some like celebrities.
Backpage.
No, it was because one of the what was it, that
Is
23
it
kids and
seeking
counting.
arrangements?
Hold
Is
on,
it
let me.
seeking arrangement? That's the only one I know of. Don't ask how I know. I really
Right. These are the ones that I
watch
was just like,
people.
I can't think of anything else.
Oh, that's good tea. Not like that RNC convention, that stuff about Grinder. I was like,
Got
how
it.
the fuck do you break down Grinder servers that is that many motherfuckers logging on?
Ashley Madison.
Mm,
Okay, Ashley, that's
mm.
do they accept?
Oh,
Do
I
they
right.
remember
accept
that. I
broke
remember
Yes.
that.
men?
Yeah.
Do they accept broke
Mm-hmm.
men who escort? Because I'm trying to find me a sugar
No,
motherfucker.
like these people who are being exposed to like high profile
Yeah,
people.
it was like a
Like these are
luxury
these are
escort service.
like like elite escorts
Hmm.
Yeah.
essentially, and it exposed a lot of people. So people were like, so you out here thotting and bopping and spending money that's not on your wife and kids, but you out here telling us we living in sin.
Okay.
Mm.
Mm. Explain yourself.
I'm like, shit, at least I fuck one person. What about you, sir? I'm not married.
Well, I can't say this. You know, I got regulars and shit. You
Who was
know.
it? Who was that Margie Taylor? Who was that female politician who's like she got called the badly built beach
Oh,
bum
that's
body?
Marjorie.
Oh,
That's Marjorie.
yeah.
Yeah, because like she got
Why
caught
you saying like
cheating.
you know her?
Look, that
She
bitch.
did.
Bad built bleach.
Well, either way it goes, she got caught cheating, and she was like one of those high and mighty Republicans. We're like, bitch, you cheat on your husband.
And my thing is, when
Mm.
that news came out, I was like, bitch, do what you wanted. Like, this is why I cannot stand these motherfuckers because I be want to be on your side. Because I'm like, look, if your husband ain't putting it down, but the gym instructor is putting it down the way that you, bitch,
Okay,
get what you need.
at
Get
least
that good dick
just
in that you
divorce the
deserve.
husband because he doesn't
That
deserve that
too. He
pain.
does not. Well, he married her,
Right.
so that's pain enough.
Who
So
knows? Let's be
yeah,
real. I watched enough murder documentaries to know that some people are not the same people before you marry them.
When you
that is true.
They do that good old bait and switch.
Hmm.
That
But
is
yeah,
so
and I'm
true.
like, she out here telling me I'm a hoe. Bitch, you the hoe. You cheated.
Several times.
Like,
Several
what the
times.
hell? So what if me and my beloved are adventurous in our life? I only fuck him.
mm.
Miss
Like,
Taylor Green.
allow
I'm not
me
gonna lie, that badly built like
butch
box.
body.
God, that line had me in tears for a month.
My
She ate
only
down with that.
I hate it
I did.
because I know it was bad because she called her butch and everything, but at the same time, when I looked at
Let's be
Margaret Taylor
real.
Green, when I looked at her, I was like, "Where's the light?
Listen,
Where's the
I
light?
literally had
She's
to look up a full
giving."
body picture of the woman. I'm like, let me look like, oh, she built like a box. Definitely a
Listen,
butch
I was
body
like,
right there.
"This is giving. I will drive a bike with the leather jacket."
Cause I'm like, oh, that's messed up. Why you talk about her like that? And I pulled her up like a full body image. I've only ever seen like a face like neck up. I put up a full body. I'm like, oh my god.
One
You
thing,
said badly built butch body.
it's the badly built for me.
It was
Yeah.
just she had that in the chamber, and she
She
had
was
been taking
waiting,
Ready.
a lot from
Ready.
that one,
She
and
been
she
thought
was
of
ready.
that one.
Yeah, she was
and you
She
locked
been
see,
and
she
thought
ready.
looks
that's
She
smug
been in
as
her
ready.
hell
mind
too.
every time she see her.
I never been so proud to be a nigga in my life. Cause goddamn, that's a nigga tree right there
Hello.
in the
Yes, I was
house.
like, you better read her right
Read
now.
her. And
Mm-mm-mm.
I think that's what they need a lot more of. They need more people to just read them for filth because That's the only
Hmm.
way they can get their honesty out. Like that's
Mhm.
how you can receive the honesty. Because you want to be all out here, be all like fuck in your fuckery. Oh no, I'm going to bring you that accountability, bitch. We're
Mhm.
going to
Like,
address you and read you for filth because that's what you are. You are garbage, right? I get that you feel sensitive when you're brought to your reality of what the fuck you are doing, but I'm here to meet you where you are and then go over because you might be in hell.
I'm
Six
going to the
said
earth
hello
core.
and goodbye to me are as how low I went in this motherfucker.
Yeah,
There's a
I'm a
new
very
plane of
spiteful
existence below
individual.
hell, bitch, and I'm living in that motherfucker today. We're hurt feelings.
Because I'm not gonna lie, like, I had my own moment similar at work. I am one of 3 black managers in the entire system. There's about no 4. There's 4 of us, and there's about 20 of us, so only 4 are black, and we're all women. So I colored my hair recently. It's a nice blue tint. I got in trouble for it, so I'm like, okay, so I get in trouble for having a haircut, but my hair is always immaculate.
And
And I
it's
put up the guidelines. I'm like, okay, yeah, colors in it, but it also says that our hair has to look kempt. So we're gonna talk about some of our ugly ass buns that we have in this meeting.
Mm.
Man, some of these white bitches be showing up looking rough. I'm like, do y'all have no one at home? Some of them are married. I'm like, y'all husband hates you.
mm,
'Cause
Listen,
god
they
damn.
try to pass off that messy bun real bad. And I'm like, it's not messy bun. It's giving you a wild sleeper and you just toss that shit up to look
I'm
whatever. It
hold
looks
up, I get in
uncharismatic.
trouble for my afro looking weird. Meanwhile, y'all looking out here with some frizzied and frayed ends. Hold on.
listen, let's go
It
ahead and
it
go to this rule
Extra
book.
greasy.
Yes, some of
yeah.
it does be looking greasy. I'm like, do y'all not
Yeah.
wash? If you
Time
can
And
for
then
a
they
wash your
like
hair.
to
wash.
talk about how much they use that dry shampoo stuff. Like I know that there's some of us that do it, but some of these heifers, they will do it every
Not
day
they
so
out
they
here
don't have to wash their
co-washing.
hair for a week. Yes.
Man, it's a whole process. To, when I do like an actual wash, I'm like,
Mm-mm.
we
What
going
gets
in today.
me
We're gonna be in the shower for 30 minutes. Let's rock. But
right.
like,
My
hold
thing is
on.
if I'm out in like a full suit, closed toe shoe, suited and booted, and then somebody next to me has on some cargo style capri pants and Toms on their feet. And I'm just
Yes.
like, okay, nobody
Talk
is
about
going to
me.
correct because the last time I checked, this was not business professional. So I'm all
No, it's
suited
Never
and
not.
talk
booted,
about
and
me.
here we are,
No, because
but
I've heard this quote, like
it's a difference.
it's like we have to work 5 times as hard to be even to be seen as mediocre. Meanwhile, our counterparts are just barely sliding by.
Mm,
Right.
I'm
I
like,
live
if
that every
I
day.
straight up told my staff, I'm like, listen, if I'm not allowed to be mediocre, neither are you. I don't give a damn what y'all look like.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't be mediocre, neither can you.
Yep.
And I had to write a staff member real because she just didn't listen. She white, but I'm like, I'm gonna need you to get on par because you slipping below average. You slipping the average. I need you here to match my energy, darling.
Yeah.
You're not gonna bring down
Mm-hmm.
the dignity of my branch. God damn it! I work in East Macon, and here, yeah, it is the ghetto. It is one of the ghettos of
It's a
Macon.
beautiful ghetto.
It's fun. I get some good ass food over here, though. I'm not gonna lie. I get some
That
great
is
food in
true.
East Macon.
Girl,
We
you know
hear gunshots every now and again. You know what I tell my staff?
I used to thrive over there.
Mind your business. I'm
Mm.
like, if it's not in the parking lot, we're gonna keep it trucking because we ain't about to go investigate.
I know that's right.
Amen, amen.
Like we get ready for our biggest event of the year. I'm excited.
All right, y'all. So, is there any more grievances that need to be on the table as it relates to this election? Are we ready to move on to a little bit more fun things?
One of my biggest grievances is the people who try to act like Project 25 is not a real thing. They're like, oh, that's not a real thing. It's like, it has its own website. It's been publicly endorsed by several like
Motherfuckers.
high end, like that's like high end, like the upper level
Think
Republicans.
tanks. Look, think
Think
tanks.
tanks,
They are
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
all
like
of
the
that.
upper level Republicans, like they mentioned it. Hell, even Trump like grazed over it.
Oh, he distanced himself, but his website has all the same tenants.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
it's just like these things, yeah. Are they 100% certain? No. Because didn't he promise that fucking wall? And where's that damn wall right now?
2% built.
Is it 2%? I thought they only had the material in it and it got
That might
messed
be.
up.
That might be it. He spent money towards it.
Either way it goes, it's like, is it 100% no? But the sheer fact that they had some of these things written, because like there's a whole section about cutting out special need things. I'm like, some of these parents with special needs, I know a couple who are Trump supporters and they voted for the man who has kids with severe special needs. So I'm like, I'm not sure who gonna help you because the show ain't gonna be that man.
Right.
I think that's the thing that like we as a community struggle with is really understanding some of the policies that are put in place to prevent us from being our best selves. Um, and so we have to have more of us that are not only advocates for persons of color, but also out there educating people on the laws, educating people on, like you said, Project 25. What is that? What does that look like? And how does it impact me? Because I know there was a narrative, especially like when I first turned 18 and got the right to vote and all these things. The narrative out there was, how does a presidential election like really impact you? And they wanted people to focus more on their local legislature because these local laws that are passing in your counties and in your city impact your day-to-day life, as far as the taxes, as far as what goes into the schools that your kids go to, all these things. But I think what we're really lacking is we don't have enough conversations around informing our people
Mm.
about what's out there, what these things mean, how does it look like for us, what does it look like for somebody else, so we can really make informed decisions. Every time it's time to vote on the ballot, there are like three, maybe four laws that they're asking you to say yes or no on. More than half of the people honestly don't even understand what those mean, and they're basically doing yes or no, just picking one at random. And so I think we do have to hold ourselves accountable to some degree to just make sure that those of us that are informed really get yourself in spaces where you're just talking about these things in forums like this. You know, it could be just as informal as it can, or it could be more on a formal platform. Doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, I think if you are one of those individuals that know what's going on or are very aware of what's out there, any chance you get, I think you should speak to your friends, speak to others about what's happening, and really just hope that you can get them engaged. And I think one of the things as we like round up election aftercare, somebody said to me, even though your candidate did not win, it does not discredit all the work you did to see
Mm.
them where they are. And so I think that just goes into giving ourselves grace, knowing for those that are out here encouraging people to vote, but also sharing with them some of the policies that are coming up, or just having a safe space where people can come to you and ask questions. What the hell does this even mean? Does this even make sense to me? Or I don't get it. You know, just being that beacon where they're able to kind of bounce ideas off you and just kind of really ask for help when we don't understand things. And so I just kind of want to lead with that to say that ultimately, at the end of the day, any work you did to see the candidate that you wanted to be there almost get there, or maybe they got there, you know, it depends on how you voted. But ultimately, just knowing that we all did put in some type of effort, and let that kind of hold you over to say, all right, I did my part, and I'm okay with that. I'm at peace with that. And so now I'm just repping or ramping up for the next 4 years, because when it's time again, I got to make sure I'm out there doing my part, because it's another chance and another opportunity for us to make sure we get that candidate that represents us. That's my
Mm.
soapbox. I'm done.
Amen. Anybody
Absolutely,
else?
and then also knowing that it's the long game, so it kind of the work doesn't stop. It kind of has to start here now that we have this next 4 years to look forward to. We have to kind of get stuck in.
Yeah. For
Mm.
you Americans, I don't know what y'all gonna do because I'm gonna be gone. Love you. But I would say one of my grievances that really stood out to me. Well, one of the things that I just kept focusing on throughout this entire election process, once Kamala came into that seat, because look, I will be real. If Biden was still up in there, because I was already like, it's gonna be Trump. It's gonna, like my mind was already set when Biden was there, because I was like, I don't know who's going to vote for him because I don't want to. I would do it out of hate, but I will put my ballot for this motherfucker and not be happy. Cause come on, Crypt Keeper. We again at the beginning of the year, I posted it. The person I'm voting for is death. I was voting for the Grim Reaper. Anyways, he almost won. he almost, anyways, but one of the things that I want people to take away from this are one of the things that really, no, the thing that really pissed me off throughout this election season was when Kamala took the helm, when so many people started to put a lot of Biden's blame on her, and all I could think about is how this is how things work whenever Black people are in these kind of spaces,
Hmm.
especially Black women have to take the weight of white mediocrity and white decisions and carry that shit when they have absolutely nothing to do with this. I don't remember at all in the history of me being alive and actually paying attention to politics when anybody will say president, vice president, administration. I always hear president administration. It's always Biden administration. It was always Bush administration. Fucking Clinton, Obama. It's always president of administration. But now that we have a Black woman running for office, now we want to tie her into this motherfucker as though she has a real voice in what the fuck the president does. She doesn't write executive orders. She doesn't make any decisions. She's just is a tie breaking vote. That's the only active role that a vice president actually plays. And we want to give all of the weight of Biden's decisions to place that on her as though she's okay with everything Biden does. And it's like we strip the autonomy of this Black woman and take away that she may have her own personality, that she may have her own decision making process, that she may have her own ideology opposite of the president or the person she's under. We just strip all of that and just align her with them, align her with Biden as though she's on the same accord. If she happened to be a white man, we would not be having the same conversation. We will recognize, oh, they have a different, they may have a different viewpoint. We will rationalize a different identity for that person separate from the president because of who that person happens to be. We will give that grace to them that they may be somebody different, but we can't do that for a Black woman.
He was getting in trouble, I was also getting in trouble.
That was the thing that really pissed me off throughout this entire election season. Because I remember, like when everything with Gaza started to happen, where Ilhan Omar was upset with Biden, where Pramila Jayapal, I think that's her name, maybe messing it up. I'm sorry if I fucked up your name. I do apologize. But how so many Muslims officials in Congress had issues with Biden, but a lot of them started to support Biden after that decision and just like, hey, we're just going to work on this after a conversation they had with Kamala Harris. And my thing is, what was those conversations to shift the way that they interacted? It doesn't seem as though that was something of, hey, I support everything that this motherfucker says. Or was it, hey, I hear you, I see you, I do want something different, but right now we have to be in stand as a unit because you know these motherfuckers who's with us don't like you. We know these motherfuckers that's with us don't like us. But what we have to do right now is play the game. What we have to do right now is continue to advocate for ourselves, but we also know this power structure that's in our politics right now may have another thing to say because we don't talk about how Israel played a role in getting a lot of the progressive people out of office. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about how Kamala Harris had to play a very, very tight game to ensure that these same motherfuckers who got other Democrats out of their seats for Republicans or Democrats that's going to support them. We don't talk about how they actively did that. We don't talk about what kind of fear or what kind of worry she had to hold on herself to make sure that they don't do the same thing to her. Because Netanyahu clearly said, I want Trump, but I will allow a Democrat to be in office. But what I really want is that motherfucker who said I could go ahead and take it all away. We don't talk about that. Why not?
Rules and regulations. You're just supposed to be smart. You're not supposed to be really
And that's my grievance. All right. Anybody else before we go into some fun things? All right. So, as depression was setting in and all that, welcome back to people who had to skip around and shit. I don't know where you are. I hope you listen to everything. But oh, I did a little warning at the beginning, sin and shame. But welcome back. But yeah, as depression was going on lately, I've been thinking about some of the content that helped me step into my queerness or help me feel great about myself. And there's a certain movie. Well, first, there's a movie I watch when I'm like extremely depressed. That's Prince of Egypt. But there's also a song that I enjoy to hear when I'm feeling down because it really meant a lot to me as a young queer black male. That really changed my life. It's called "Here's Where I Stand." It's from a movie called Camp. Um, and I was watching the movie today, and that sparked this question: what are some of the things, or even queer content, that you love that you think other people would appreciate or may help them or help their child who's going through a similar reckoning or trying to understand themselves? Like, what is something that you would like to offer to the growing community of people who really want to care for their child that they don't understand, or something that will help them grow in understanding themselves or the child that they have that happens to be queer?
But I didn't know that Justin would do anything like this. And when you got older, at this point, I mean, you really
Yeah, I don't know why you didn't send these earlier.
God damn it, Vernon.
Right.
My bad.
Well,
My bad.
Because I got asked a surprise question at work, and I'm like, God damn
Right.
it.
This happened today though, so
Yeah.
I
I don't think
forgive
I
me.
have any content or like anything that I could direct somebody to.
Mhm.
Um, just from my experience, I have just like really tried to be open when it comes to communicating with my kid about sexuality, about her understanding that things are kind of like her choice. And I think one of the biggest things is like a lot of queer people have these coming out stories, but then we never hear about somebody coming out as straight and, deciding a woman deciding to bring a man home or a man deciding to bring a woman home. So why do we have to make this difference for them? So like I really just kind of lead with her, like, I'm gonna whoop their ass, whoever you bring home and they disrespect you. I don't care if it's a boy or a girl, mama is squaring up. So that's just kind of like how I lead with that. Like I don't really care who or what they are, just as long as they're good people.
Mm,
And so for me, I think just really kind of take that approach, like you don't have to have this pressure from me where you have to figure out if you're gay, straight, bi, all of the things, because now we have so many alphabets in it. So I don't want her to feel like she's in a place where she has to decide and then I have to know what that is she chooses to decide. So I think just being like open and allowing them to just really have that space to be free and explore whatever it is that they decide they want to do, so we don't have these weird moments where now I have to kind of come out, as you would say. So
Mm,
that's kind of like one of my things. I'm trying to stop this generational thing of coming out. Like, it's
mm.
not a coming out. You just bring somebody home. Okay, it works. It works. If it doesn't, next, and keep it
Amen.
moving. So that's just kind of like how what I'm doing, or something that I think would be helpful for the queer community as we continue to expand.
I like that. Yes.
Absolutely, just to kind of normalize the not having a stigma such attached to, this is who I am, and having to let people into that space of their lives, because it's really only between the two people that you're going to be interacting with. The consent between the two individuals, the adults that are having sex, it shouldn't be something that you have to kind of you know put on display, or make it like a performative thing where it's like this, will you still love me after I tell you this thing. But I think for the general public, for people that don't understand LGBTQIA plus people, I think the best content that I can give is something that's just so fun, and it's not serious. It doesn't take itself seriously. It just kind of shows people in their best light. Would be RuPaul's Drag Race. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but there's a lot of different stories that get told from different sectors of that alphabet soup, so that they can kind of see this is just a regular person that happens to this be their profession, or this might just be what they prefer, or who they are as a person. So Drag Race, Dragula, yeah. There's a lot of good podcasts too. A lot of
Oh,
gay
this podcast.
comedians. Hello.
It's
I don't know
throughout
if you're.
Dracula.
Oh, it's called Dragula. It's like Fear
Dragula?
Factor. It's Dragula.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
was just I was like, Drag. Okay.
Dragula. It's on AMC or something, but it's like Fear Factor, but with drag queens, pretty much.
Yes, yes.
But
Oof.
That
it's
sounds
pretty
interesting.
it's
Yeah, I'm
pretty
not gonna look
gruesome. I think last week they like peed on a American flag, so it's
Oh,
really progressive, for the
Whoa.
family.
that's
I
pretty
didn't like
exotic,
For
that.
the
honestly.
family.
That's freedom of speech.
okay.
'Cause you can set the thing on fire. They said that's okay. So it's on its
In certain states you can. In certain states you can do it with no problem. In some it's a crime.
own. Oh,
So
yeah.
make sure you're in the right state for that.
Those
Don't
state
be like,
laws
well, it was
matter.
cool. It wasn't a crime.
State
Sorry,
laws
you in
matter.
Texas. That's a crime.
Hooch, I would not. I would visit
Right.
Texas just to be a hoe, but I would not live in that hellhole. I would not.
Are,
Like
are the
that's
niggas better in Texas? Is that what you're trying to
girl,
say?
they are fine as
Oh,
fuck.
oh,
Man,
Fine
I
as
never
don't
fuck.
know.
remember any specific form of media growing up outside like what was that channel? There was a channel when I was growing up. You had to pay for it. I think it was like Logo or something like that. It was a queer channel.
Oh yeah, this logo.
Oh, right. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
logo.
that channel was very helpful for me because I got into the show Queer as Folk.
That's a good one.
Mhm.
Loved that show,
That was a good one.
but it did help show me that there's a different, like, yeah, because there's like this weird thought that if a man is gay, he's immediately effeminate, like
Feminine.
immediately
Mhm.
hi. No, not all gay. Like you know what I'm talking about. The
Oh, I
stereotypical
know.
gay man, but not all gay men are like, or men who like men in general. They could be bi, pan, whatever. There's a spectrum. There's some that are like, whoa, like the gay football player who recently came out not too long ago. I think like a couple years ago.
You talk about Sam's?
Mhm.
I don't know. I
Michael
Yeah.
just with the gay
Sam's, I
football
think that's
player
his
that
name.
was like, yeah, I'm gay, and I didn't care.
Child, okay, y'all could judge me after this, but he was cute until I saw who his boyfriend was, and I was just like, "Oh, you one of them."
Well, anyway, Logo helped show me that there's a broad spectrum of queer. I'm not even sure that channel is still around because it's been some time since
It
I
is.
thought about that channel. But I do know in recent media there are a lot more material for kids who are curious and are questioning. Like by far one of the cutest boy love romances right now is Heartstopper. It's very wholesome. Like it is in the graphic novel, they literally panicked holding hands, kind of wholesome.
Mm.
It's a very cute media. And
Oh.
there's other forms, like there's a another graphic novel here called Dead India. The like two main characters, they're best friends. One is male to a female to male transgender individual, and his best friend is, she thinks she likes girls, but she's on the fence. So like I feel like a lot of youth has more media now to pick from than
Mhm.
what I did growing up, because let's be real, there is still a very hard line between gay men have to be effeminate, gay women have to be studs and butch. So like
Marjorie.
so like when I was growing up, there weren't many looks of what queer looked like. Nowadays, I do, like, don't get me wrong, I'm kind of jealous because like, damn, why couldn't I have this as a kid? Because it would have been so helpful. But I'm actually very happy that a lot of that the youth now have far more materials to help them navigate what queer looks like. Because that's like, I'm pansexual. A lot of people paint pansexual individuals and bisexual individuals as hoes. No, we can be in committed relationships to
Mhm.
that individual, or if you're poly, in a respectable what's it, things like a polycule, is that what they call
That's
it?
probably cool.
Polycule that's built
Mhm.
on the foundation of respect, honesty, and just communication. So it's a broad spectrum. So I'm very happy that the youth now has more materials than what I did growing up in the early to mid, yeah, early 2000s.
Mhm. There's
More
also
safe
Steven Universe.
spaces.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Since said more safe spaces.
Yeah,
And
totally.
I said there's also Steven Universe. That's also a good one too. It's really good. I
Me and
actually
Steven
enjoyed.
Universe has some beef. It's kind of low key toxic at times. I'm like, hold up, and they
But
don't
it's
even
so
address that
cute.
shit sometimes. I'm
It's
like,
so
hold up.
cute. Oh, I also want to call somebody out because I saw that refill. I noticed that refill, Kristen.
Well,
Me
look,
too.
time is
It's
also
like,
because Princess Bubblegum and Marceline.
oh, oh, and Adventure Time, is that the show?
Yeah,
That was a good.
Princess Bubblegum and the Vampire Queen.
yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, like I'm very happy that there's like a lot more media, like in Owl House. If you never, Owl House is on Disney Plus. It's a really good series. But I'm actually very happy for the youth now. They have a lot more media to help them navigate. Like, okay, I'm more like this individual, and they're like me. They like they like similar items as me. So it's like I'm so happy for them because they don't have to go through that confusing stage that a lot of us went through it in my era. Because like, okay, I like this, but I also like that. Like in through my sexual orientation journey, I thought I was bisexual for the longest because pansexuality wasn't talked about that much because you were seen as greedy.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I'm like, no, I have a broad spectrum of who I'm attracted to, and that's okay. Doesn't mean I have to like go out and sleep with every person that I find attractive. No, I have self control. I'm a human being. Don't get me wrong. If a pretty individual walks by, I'm like, God damn, they're pretty. Or if a handsome individual, yeah, they're handsome. I can look. Doesn't mean I'm going to like, I need to go find that person
Yeah.
information right now. So I do like that there's a lot more media, especially for like sex ed in general. God, was it? I have one. It's pretty graphic, but it's for teens. So I'm like, the more pictures you give these motherfuckers, the help, because they don't read words after
Are,
like a certain age anymore. They just look at the pictures.
are you talking about the book that you sent me?
Yes,
Oh, that's a good book. That's a good book.
yes. So like we have that, and it's super graphic. It has a lot of pictures, but it drives home the point. You can have any sexual orientation on the planet. Be safe about it. Be smart. So that's why I really like that book. It doesn't just talk about heterosexual romances and sexual relationships. It talks about all of them, and
What?
that's why I bought it because like it tells you be safe, be conscious of who you're sleeping with, even if you trusted them. Be safe, be smart about this. Because
What?
I just watched a documentary not so long ago about a woman meeting a man. They got tested, but she never saw the test, so they went to have sex without a condom, and he gave her HIV on purpose. He knew
Oh,
he had it. he gave it to a lot of women. He never disclosed it, and he got sent to jail for it because he purposely infected people with HIV. And all this whole thing could have been avoided if they, like, I demand to see the results. That's just me personally.
Girl, me.
So it actually tells them, like, look at your partner's results. I'm like, yes, that's the main reason why I bought it, because it tells you, make sure you know where your partner stands in on that test, because that can affect your life. It could be
Absolutely.
temporary or it could be for life, and it can also take your life depending on how soon they catch it and if you can afford the treatment.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Like low key, that's the reason why one of my regulars got xed out because I'm like, okay, you want to do this bra thing, so where are these results at to make? Because I don't want to be spending money to take my docs and all this shit because I don't know what the fuck you doing on your free time. I know what I'm doing on my free time, usually sleeping. So if we're gonna be doing all these things, like a test, y'all want to do the test? Oh well, we don't have to do. Condoms are going to be used. Like,
And
what are
people be
we doing?
doing, I didn't realize how many people be dipping and dodging, like taking the test, and it's like it's given, you trying to kill me. What's
Okay.
going on?
And like,
Right.
oh, and what's the name of that book? Because I don't remember. Do you remember the name of the book, the one with the graphic images and everything?
Yeah, give me a second. But go ahead and I'll find it.
All right, perfect. And I'm glad that we're having this conversation about media because these mofos who just be like, oh, they're just trying to shove homosexuality and all these LGBTQ stuff on us. No, what they are actually doing is creating a reality that reflects what our kids as well as us as adults see. Because yeah, you may not have a trans child, but trans people actually do exist, and more than likely, your child is going to interact with somebody that's trans. You yourself might interact with somebody that's trans. So we're trying to, our people in media spaces are trying to normalize media that includes different identities because there's a strong possibility when you go out into the public, you're going to interact with somebody that's different from you, which is why in a common popular media, you may see somebody that's white, you may see somebody that's Asian, you may see somebody that's black, you may see somebody that's gay, you may see somebody that's trans, you may see somebody that's Hispanic, you may see somebody that is outside of what you consider normal because
Mhm.
what? Those things exist in public in order to help other people, especially for a show that they hope gets a wide reach of fan. They're going to include those communities so that you recognize or that people recognize that these people do exist. That I may interact with this person is not pushing a specific narrative, is not pushing or shoving LGBTQ stuff in your face. It's just highlighting that there's somebody that you may know that is queer. There is somebody that you may interact with who's queer. And they have a story, they have traumas, they have differences, they have experiences that just don't match what you have lived throughout your life. And here's just a little glimpse into that.
Little glimpse.
And
I
that's
think
all.
I'm kind of funny with it. Um, Not from a lens of shoving it in my face, more so like, how genuine is this? Like,
Yes.
are you
Yeah.
like, was this written by queer individuals? Like this whole character that they just created? Because sometimes I'm like, no, this is not real. This is not what this would look like. And it kind of frustrates me
Mhm.
because it got to a point where I literally
Fair.
said, as I was like scrolling through TV, every show literally has like one gay person or one somebody queer, some type of individual on the show. And it really
That
just
token
depends on the
person.
writer whether or not how good that character is on the show, where you're like, okay,
Mm,
this feels like something, that's very familiar, or this is like they really just tried to make this be a thing. And so sometimes it's kind of frustrating because it's like, I don't want it to be forced, but at the same time, I do want it to be out there enough where it's not taboo, where it is something like, oh, okay, like we don't have to make a big deal about it that one of the lead characters in this series just so
Mhm.
happens to be a queer individual. But I think it's just also kind of realizing that sometimes these things are in there because it's like, all right, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Let's make sure we add this so we can get more people involved. And so it just kind of begs the
And
question for
often
me a
hack
lot of
shoe.
times,
And that's
like,
a
how
fair
real is
critique.
it?
And that is a very fair critique because that part definitely does happen. And that also frustrates
Mhm.
you. And that's oh, by the way, the book that Shane was talking about is Let's Talk About It by Erica Moen and somebody else. I'm not going to go into that to see who the other person is, but let's talk about it. Look on Amazon or wherever you get your books. Let's talk about it. Erica with a K. That's the book. But anyways,
It talks about what a relationship actually is too. It does break down what a relationship is, not a situationship or I know that person and we text every now and again.
mhm,
No, no. What an actual relationship is, which I feel like
okay.
a lot of teens,
Need
especially grown,
Mhm.
I know I saw this for a fact. A lot of us didn't know what a real relationship was until later, or we got into one. It was terrible.
facts.
Mm,
Yep.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, with the
I
media thing, it's like I respect Euphoria and how they told the story of I forgot the trans kid's
the
name.
trans girl.
Yeah, I like how they told her story because it wasn't like, oh, this person has been kicked out and all this other stuff. Like we're not making it drop. Oh, drop.
A trauma ride the entire start.
Yeah, it's like it's just a normal teenager, and I think that's where a lot of writers fail when it comes to writing queerness and trans people. Like Pose, is also going to just do its thing because Pose did what it needed to do. But like outside of Pose, but like other media that focus on queer people try to do that narrative of, "Oh, my family hated me and all this other stuff. They kicked me out and blah 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 blah," or they force the trauma of what queer
Mhm.
people experience rather than
Mhm.
the experience of that queer child whose parents just automatically accepted them. It's just, "I'm gay." Girl, what you talking? Who you dating? That's the fuck what I
Mhm.
asked. Like, you over here trying to get up out of my house all times of the night. Who are you messing with? Who is this young boy? Who is this young girl that you messing around
Hmm.
with? Because
Mhm.
you acting up.
Like I'm like I
I don't
do hate
care
the
about no
trope.
sexuality. You acting up, bitch. What's going on? We need to have
Right.
a conversation.
Like
Because you acting up in my house.
a trope that makes me mad is like the angry queer.
Ooh.
Mm.
Mm.
I like especially if the individual that is the angry one is trans. Like don't be wrong, like trans people do face a lot of challenges, but when they make it their entire personality,
Mhm.
Mhm.
that's like I'm okay. I'm not gonna lie. I can't even get mad too often because I have met some individuals like this.
Hmm.
Like,
Same.
okay, yeah, I understand you're trans, but me and you are talking right now. I'm trying to understand what you're going through because I'm not trans. I don't I have questions about the process, but I everyone is different in their journey. So not all questions will be perceived as respectful or
Hmm.
not insensitive. So like trying to and it, like every and that goes with anybody in general, but specifically for trans people, like trying to navigate the conversation to make sure you're respectful in real life is a challenge. And when they reflect that in the TV, I'm like, okay, that's cool beans. But my biggest peeve is when like the character like blows it way out of proportion.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
like, I understand, like, yeah, you don't want sometimes you don't want to answer that question. Instead of calling that person like intolerant or transphobic, just say like, hey, I'm not comfortable. That would have been more realistic for me. Just like, hey,
Mhm.
you know what? I understand like you have a genuine question. It's a good question, but I'm not in the space to answer that question for you.
Hmm. No.
It's like if I see like if a character would do that, even if they're not trans, like they're just on the part of the community, And they're like, okay, I understand your question. That is a valid question. I'm just uncomfortable. My peeve comes where it's like that character blows that innocent question that probably made them uncomfortable. Like they just asked them like some off the wall question, like it's super disrespectful. Like I can like an example. So I can't remember what show it was. A character had asked them because the character before they fully transitioned, they started off as gender fluid. I'm like, okay, when you're unsure, some people are like, okay, I'm gender fluid before they realize if they're either way. They ask like, oh, who are you today? Simple question. Who are you today? That way I know how to address you. You should just instantly you should just now die. No, if you come out wearing a sweatpants and hoodie, you like a regular motherfucker to me. I'm sorry. That's me going to the grocery store sometimes if it's raining. I'm like, it's raining, it's cold. I'm not putting on real clothes to go grocery shopping. So like that was the question, like who, like how do you identify today? And that character blew it out of proportion. They got super mad. That's like my biggest pet peeves when they make the angry clear.
Mhm.
Yeah, there are certain situations that you should be upset, but if it's just a normal question asking how to respectfully identify you and you go off the rails, in real life, I would just leave you alone. I'm like, oh, we're never talking again. We cannot even be friends. At this point, you and I are not even acquaintances. You are nothing.
Mhm. No, like I had to have this conversation with I have to say a peer because she's not really in my class, but because she was seeing a client who happens to be I think m- male uh transitioning to female, right? Um and because of a lot of the narrative that we are fed through the media and everything, and this is working as a therapist and doing family therapy at that. We want to side on the victim that's going to be here and the person who's most marginalized, right? And I had to have a conversation with her like, okay, what's missing here in the way that you're doing your family therapy is that you're not really focusing on the parents' needs at all, right? Like you want to be there for your trans client, you want to be there for this person because they do need that additional support, but you also have to think about the impact of this transition that it has on the parents too. Because if not, you're missing a huge gap of why there's dysfunction going on within the family. Because
Mhm.
this family knows this child from who they named them as, who they got to experience them
Mhm.
as being throughout the majority of their life. And now they're coming to terms with that this child is somebody who they did not recognize their child to be. So what you need to do is cultivate a space for that conversation and hold space for the grace that the parents need to grow in that. Because if you don't do that, now you're demonizing the parents. You're making them feel as though that they're not loving their child the way that they need to
Mm-hmm.
love their child. When it's only they just have to get adjusted to that. And I think that's the thing that's
Mhm.
really missed out in a lot of the media that we get is we don't get to have the story of the parent who's have to do that adjustment, which going back
Mhm.
to election things, for those parents who are dealing with a trans kid, they do feel unheard in those spaces because we focus so much on the trauma that's going on in the child, but we don't think about the trauma that's going on with the parents that have to make that adjustment.
Hmm.
They
They're
have to go through that
grieving
death for the
technically
person
the
they
loss.
created.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
grieving that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially depending on the age and when they start to transition. Because Vernon,
Mhm.
you and I have a friend that we knew as one individual, and
child,
then after college they transitioned. So it took us a while because we knew
love
them
her.
Same. Yeah.
as who they were, and it's like,
Hmm.
okay, this is now so and
So and
so.
so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta
and
remember this. Sometimes I caught myself slipping up in the beginning because like
Hmm.
I knew them years leading up to this as one person, and
mhm,
I respect the fact that they're transitioning. I love them. I
Hmm.
still support them to this day. I love them deeply. but it was still just a transitional
It's a
period
transition for
for
you as
me.
well. Yeah.
Like
Yeah, transition for
I'm now
everyone.
disassociating from that individual to who
Yeah.
they are now. Like
Mhm.
luckily they were very understanding. Like slip ups will happen. You guys know me for XYZ years. And because they were honest, like, yeah, my parents still mess up from time to time because
Their sibling
they,
mess up.
yeah, because like
Right.
I see, I think they were like 22 when they started to transition,
Mhm.
22, 23. I'm like, for me, it was 4 or 5 years. Their parents, it's their entire lives.
Mhm.
Like one of my staff members, her partner transitioned. So they start off as a lesbian couple.
Oh, I
Mm,
love this.
yeah. Yeah.
Her partner transitioned. They went to individual and couples counseling throughout the entire process to make sure,
Mhm.
Oh, that's really
A,
good.
she, like my staff member was understanding what was going on and if this was what she wanted, because at the end of the day she started off in a relationship with another woman, and this
Mhm.
they are still together, but it was a she admitted it was a bit rocky because I
Yeah.
had to reconcile that the person I fell in love with and married is
Mhm.
now this individual,
Mhm.
which I'm like,
Right.
that sounds
Now
valid.
they look different, sound different. I mean,
Mhm.
That
they're still the person that you grew to love and all of that. They still have those same eyes that you fell in love with and everything. But I mean, at the same time, like what you see in front of you is now
It's
somebody completely different.
Mhm.
So it's like your brain really having to wrap around that, like what you see every day versus like I know you're you. I know who you are, but still like you're still not the person that I remember all these memories with. So again, like you guys were saying, like the transition, the loss of this person that you knew for however long and just being like, I still support you and I love you and I want you to be your truest self, but please understand like I still have to transition with you. So
Mhm.
but I think that's cool that they went through therapy the whole time. That's really important.
Right.
I'm
it.
like, hey, power to you, because like I don't get me wrong, I never judged a partner who decide like who feels like they can't do it.
Hmm.
But and then like of course there are those partners that get mad because their partner's leaving them because they're transitioning. And I'm like, you should take that as the biggest form of gender affirmation on the planet.
Mm.
Because I read a Reddit story. He started off in a relationship with a woman. She came home, said she's transitioning to be male. He was like, I don't want to be in a relationship with another man. I'm like,
Hmm.
then she called him, then he called her, like their ex now, home, like transphobic. And I'm like,
No, they seeing
you
you
literally,
as
Mm-mm.
what you.
That's what they're saying for you because just like you're saying that was like when you first talked about this couple being a lesbian couple and then one transitioning, I'm just like, well, how does the other person feel? Because if you strictly identify or at least your whole life identified as someone who is a lesbian, I like other women or female presenting people, and then now all of a sudden you have something different. I mean, forget what everybody else is going to say and ask you, but
mm-hmm,
you really have to ask yourself, like, even though I love this person, once again, I still have to view this new version of you now. And am I still going to have those same kinds of feelings, attractions, physical, sexual attractions? Forget the romantic side for a second. Like, am I going to be able to still give you all of me in that way? Because I'm just like, in my eyes, you look like a man now. Like I don't like
yeah,
men, especially if there was any kind of trauma related to that or something that was like I already identify as this person, but seeing how shitty men are for whatever reason, like locked it in for that person, and now you're just like, well, I mean, I definitely love you enough to where I want you to be who you are,
mm-hmm.
especially if you felt like you've been somebody else your whole life. But for me, like I just see you as a man, and in my mind, it automatically clicks that, I don't
Mhm.
fuck with them for these reasons.
It
Yeah,
low key, this specific conversation, this always brings out the toxic side of me because I'm just like love it because like having some lesbian friends and just learning when the lesbians they
When the lesbians
the
were.
identity politics come into play. It's like, and it's not necessarily to that specific person, but it's
Mhm.
the lesbian community, and this happens in gay
Mm,
spaces too, and I'm just like, y'all just doing the most. But it's like, so you can't be with a trans man and be considered lesbian. I'm just like, why are you stripping her title away? Don't do that to
Exactly.
her. Don't do that
Like,
to this. She's stripping
listen,
the
like
relationship.
I.
No, don't do it.
Now we stripping
I
her
just
title. Like,
Well,
no,
how
you are
she
not a
explained it,
lesbian.
You
she
are
actually
not a lesbian. You are not a real lesbian. Like this gold
she
star
You're
beige
not a
explained
real
it
lesbian.
really
That's the
well.
one.
She was like, I've been with this person. They've been together for a while, like
Mm-hmm.
a while,
hmm
like over like 15 years, a while before they transitioned, like 5 years ago. How my staff member explained it, she was like, I've been with this person. They see me at my lowest.
Mm-hmm.
They've seen them at their lowest, not including the process of transitioning and all the care that goes with that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mhm.
she was like, I've been with this person for 15 years. I've seen them at their lowest. They see me at their lowest. They understand me. I understand them. She was like, she was like, that's why they went to personal therapy outside of the
Mm-hmm.
couple therapy, because she needed to wrap her
Her
mind
own
around,
feelings.
yeah, like
Yeah.
how does her love and feelings for her partner weigh against their transitioning?
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, if they're only dating for 2 years, it'll be a lot easier in that decision. But because it was 10 plus years, she was like, this, like, his transitioning of anything that could have happened in our relationship, that's literally at the lower end of the spectrum when it comes down to like life changing decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, he's no longer who she married and like met and all like that. But if it's just the transition and not, and it was all smooth, they agreed to therapy, they did everything right. She was like, I'm willing to give it a try just to see how it goes, and they're pretty happy. So
That's
like
good.
for her, it was a hard decision because it was like 10 plus years. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the feelings and her love and memories versus who they and their happiness versus seeing her partner continue to struggle with who they are, go through like the whole downward slope of depression that we've seen a lot of trans individuals go through when they don't have that proper support. So she was like, it was a math game, a literal math game with her and her therapist going over her feelings, the transition, and all of that. So I'm like, that's what's up. I'm like, because 10 plus years, and then it's just like, oh, sat down, had a serious discussion about wanting to transition versus all the other nonsense we've heard pop up in a lot of relationships. I'm not saying like the transition is nonsense. I'm just saying like we've all had some friends who've had some interesting decisions in their relationships and they stayed and it's like, okay, I'm gonna mind my business. But yeah, so she was like, it was a hard decision between her and her therapist, but she how she weighed it out, I'm like, you know what? You're happy, your partner's happy, you guys are doing really well. It's about 4 years, going on 5 years post transitioning. Everything seems to be going well, and they're happy, and they still see therapists still to make sure like they're on
Everything's
top
still
of all their
good.
feelings. I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
I completely understand that because it's hard to throw away 10 plus years over something minor in comparison to what could have happened.
hmm
Of
I
course,
was
like
wondering too when you were saying when
other
you were
people who are
talking about this.
transitioning. Sorry, go ahead.
When no, you're good. I was wondering too, like especially with them being together for so long, like at what point did the partner who was transitioning or who is now transitioned, at what point in the relationship did they start talking about not being happy with who they were and wanting to be like and feeling like I need to transition? That's kind of my question because like is that something that you kept deep down like as a deep dark secret for a long time and finally was like I need to have this conversation with you because I love you and I love me more and all of that. Like, at what point did that happen before the transitioning happened? Or was it something that was kind of like, they've been hinting at this for a while, or they've said this on and off at this point in our relationship, and now we got here. So it kind of makes me curious as to how all of that came about, especially for them to continue to be as strong
Right.
as it is. Because I mean, I couldn't imagine being with somebody for 8 years and then they tell me year eight and they've never had mentioned it before, or at least I've never heard it from them, to have this conversation and then just be like, I love you enough for you to be your entire self and I support you completely. And then again, like, but we need to go to therapy because for all of these reasons, but of course go ahead and transition and to find like that space to be like, I'm going to give it a try because I love them so much and I'm not going to throw all of this away. So yeah, I would be interested to know how that worked out for them, or
I
how
didn't
where that
ask
came in.
too many questions because I feel like that's a personal
Yeah, yeah.
in between the two of
Yeah,
them.
for
That's needs a
sure.
lot. That was a lot more intimate because I knew them prior to her partner transitioning, so I knew like, they went from. Luckily, they went from one L name to another L name. So I'm like, yes,
Look,
yes.
that's a whole thing too. It's just a lot of relearning. I'll admit, I'll tell myself, like, I always tell people like I'm an old school lesbian when it comes to it's just like
I'm judging her
a
already.
femme. Yeah, I know it. I'm putting it out here. There's a femme and a stud. And I call it, I still joke, and even to this day I'll say it's the girl and the boy. And
Mhm.
like that was all I knew when it came to like being a lesbian. Like, no, there's
That's
one
all I knew
that's
because
a
I had the
lipstick.
stud on.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so it's like for me, like I will credit my best friend with really exposing me to like different kinds of queer and just like all people. And so one of the things, and that's one of the things I was supporting, which is alt, and basically it's just a safe space for queer Black folk to get together, and whether that's dance, drink, party, network, all of these things. But it wasn't until her where I was starting to be introduced to people with pronouns they them, and for me,
Hmm.
all I knew was she, her, he, him. And so
She,
when
her, he,
I
him.
started to have to open my horizons to start saying they and them, my mind is like, okay, this doesn't even sound like correct grammar when I speak this, but I also have to understand that this is what this person wants to be acknowledged as, and who am I to say no? Because you're presenting one way, you have to be, one or the other. But it's always just like this self-awareness that you have to have as you navigate being like a queer individual, and as we're growing and expanding, and more people and more identities are coming, like it's like I love it, but if I can be completely transparent, I'm always second guessing myself whether or not I am referring to somebody as how they want to be referred to, or worrying that maybe in a moment of us just talking and having a good time, I'm going to slip up and say what my mind has been conditioned to believe them to be.
Yeah.
And so that's just like one of the things that I struggle with as I navigate just being a queer individual, like making sure that
Yeah.
I'm identifying other people the way they want to be identified, and just kind of erasing some of those old school lesbian ways.
We love it. We love it. Like I'm here with you. Like that's like me and neo pronouns because I'm like me being English teacher. I'm just like, girl, these don't exist in my realm because these are neo pronouns, meaning they are new pronouns, which means nobody's being taught this. Okay, we're not going into school to be like, what is a Zer? Like, we're not going into school learning that because there's not actual context of where we will use that. Because personally, like, so the general rule, like for writing purposes, if you are going to write something, you can use they, them until the point where it's like, okay, we're being confusing. Now let's go ahead to use the specific pronoun of the writer that is
Yeah.
producing this study or this actual fiction, whatever the case is. So that's why you see a lot of research studies that have he or she pronouns in it, because that's just a general rule. Now, then you can have an option where you continue to do they, but some people don't see they as being a single person or gender neutral, and now we have a problem. We're not being taught the other new ones, right? So, like,
Hmm.
it's harder for me to adjust myself to a neo pronoun because we're not taught that. I don't have to teach that,
Hmm.
and I will adjust for that specific person whenever I get to know them or them or whatever the neo pronoun may be. But it's like you also have to be cognizant to know that this is not something that other people will consider the norm or what they have been taught or what they have been exposed to. So that's where that adjustment period comes in.
Hmm.
And then you have to also give that grace that we're not automatically going to understand this
Get
new
right away.
information. That's like when people have issues with the term cisgender. Cisgender has been out there longer than most of the people that's on this in this conversation has been alive. It's
Man,
a very old term, but at the same
very.
time, in having conversations where cisgender may come up, I don't mind telling people, "Hey, cisgender just means when you were born, they assigned you a specific sex, and right now, in the way that you feel, you still identify with that sex that's on your birth certificate. That's all it means. It's not a slur. It's not a bad thing."
Man.
Okay, I'll see you guys
And
later.
trans is just the opposite of that. That just means you do not identify with that thing, and it's all good. We're good. We're fine. We're friends here, okay?
Hey.
And and I think the issue. Well, where am I going with this? The liquor just start hitting. Sorry.
It get
Uh-oh.
kind of. Well, I was gonna
Did
say it
you
get
talk
kind of
about
late, but never mind.
identification with pronouns?
There we go. So it's like me. Yeah, I'm not going to just regularly know that I need to communicate with you with these things. But once you educate me, once you provide me with this information, I'm open and willing to make that adjustment that's needed.
I struggle with the neo genders. I mean neo pronouns. I'm like, hold up.
Girl, there's like 85.
Um, because I'm not. I did short circuit one of their brains once. I'm like, so this is in English, right? Like some of these letters can't be pronounced in other languages. So like, it's not very. They're like, it's universal. No,
It's
no,
not.
it's
No, it's
very
not.
American.
Let's not
No,
take
thank you.
Western ideology and make that universal because it's not. Okay.
Because it's not, because even because American English isn't regular, the Queen's
No,
English isn't.
we're
So
like
what are we talking
we
about?
we're like how Drake does his lyrics. We're a mash posh of other people's stuff.
Ooh, the shoulda.
We're a mixed pot for real, like literally and figuratively, a mixed pot.
The shoulda.
Bro, yeah, like I struggle with a gender because I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, I can't say a single pronoun. I gotta say your name. You know how tiresome it's gonna get in the conversation.
Fair. Like,
I have a
You're being
coworker
third
who's
person the
a
whole
gender, and
time.
I'm like, I have to like coach myself before I start the conversation. They are a gender. Just say their name. But if I don't want to
Hmm.
say their name, well, I'm doing
The
fuck
whole
it.
time, because
I'm doing it wrong
it gets
now.
tiring. It's like you're narrating a book where the only thing that you can say is their name, and you're just like, why am I speaking in third person to have a direct one-to-one person
Yeah,
conversation?
especially if like I'm describing a job that this individual is doing for me to my supervisor. So it's like, so and so, da 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 da, so and so, so and so. Like, I hate it. I hate it so much.
but I will say, in the beauty of it all is that, and I think this is something that many people have to walk away from, like even these conversations about gender and pronouns and whatnot, is what that respect looks like. Like I hear some people who's just like, oh, if I cannot call you they, well, if the presentation is not matching the pronoun that you're identifying as, I'm just going to call you your name. And if this person specifically say that there's actual pronouns that you can use, there's a level of disrespect there. because you're not trying to
Mhm.
see them fully. And then like with this agender person, it's like just call me my name. Fuck those other things that exist out there because we don't need that. Just call me my name. And that's where it's appropriate to just use that person's name. And I don't think people are used to establishing respect on the level of that individual themselves. And they
Like,
think
I'm
about the respect that
trying.
only they want to receive, meaning I'm respecting you based off of the terms that I come up with rather than I'm respecting you based off of the terms that you came up with.
Mhm.
And I think that's the problem with where our society is today as well, is that we're trying to respect people in the language that we have rather than the language that they use.
Mhm.
Okay.
'Cause what was it like? Was it Latinx that
Okay,
Americans try to pass off? And it's
girl.
like, bro, they can't say that
When
letter.
I tell you that makes me upset every time I see it. Like I'm like
They
okay,
still use it.
the people who are okay with Latinx, I'm not judging you and I'm not taking away from your use of that. Continue to use that because you are comfortable with that. But when you talk to
Yeah.
somebody who is actually like engulfed in the community outside of the United States, they're just like, what the fuck is that? Like there's
Right.
gender neutral language that you can use, even if you want to say Latin, you can say Latine. There's actually
In declension
grammatical
of
use for
Latin-based
that.
words, there's a gender-neutral form of it.
And that too, like there's always a gender neutral term, and there's also language used in the Latin community for people who are trans. Now the only difference is you might have to change that based off the country that they are derived
Yeah.
from.
Mhm.
And that's the only difference there. But if that person is not aware of that, and if that person doesn't know their heritage, okay, I get that. But there's still language that works with the language of
Hmm.
Spanish that actually goes along with gender neutral terms, and we just choosing not to use that, so we're just going to put an X on everything. What are we talking about? Like, I would love for there to be a gender neutral version of Mrs. and Miss and Mister, because I'll be
Mm.
sending people emails and I'll just be like, I don't know if you married or not, and I don't want to disrespect you
Right. And
because
I
y'all
don't care.
motherfuckers be getting
That's all.
real serious about that. Bitch, I'm fucking married. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know you like that.
So it will be so it will be to
Oh,
whom this to who this may concern the
sir,
whole time.
Not
sir, or
to
madam,
respect with her.
Vernon.
Dear
Right.
first name,
It's sir or madam.
sir or madam. That's it.
Hmm.
Or Madam X, or Madam with the X where the A is supposed to be.
I'm
I don't know.
Vernon.
Sir with the
I would
S.
But
ask
some
What?
you.
people but some
I would.
people revert to themselves as Zer also. So
That
should
is
it
true
be
because you
No,
was
no, no,
you were
sir.
ahead of time.
Man, me and these neo pronouns be fighting. I'm like,
I'm
wait,
telling
what?
you. Hmm.
Son of, I'm like, who misspelled this? Because like the way they're spelled, I'm like, what poor dyslexic child made this list?
I'm so done with you.
I think I
I'm
seen
like,
that one time with someone's like social media handle, and it was supposed to be it was supposed to be mix, so MX. And so I
I've
thought it
seen
was
that.
just someone who just put the X after the M, because you know how some people would do that as part of
mhm.
their like handle or whatever. They'll put X's in different places. So I thought it was that until they said that this is how you
The
pronounce. I said,
gender.
"Oh,
Mhm.
that was my bad. I thought this was never mind."
And that's a useful skill to know as well.
And then you gotta look away, like, oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for
Right.
letting me know. I'm like, damn, I just got
Right,
dumb.
exactly. I'm like, "Thank you for letting me know who you are."
Yeah, like the English language is very gender based, most definitely when
Mhm.
it comes to the titles that we provide to other people. And it is a hard adjustment, but it's also adjustment that can easily be made if we choose to do so. And it's just having the foresight, one, the ability to hold yourself accountable, apologize for when you make mistakes, but also with acknowledging that okay, there's a difference in how I approach these things. Like again, when it comes to neopronouns, if you tell me, you let me know that this is the way that you identify, I'm going to use it for you. Because that's how I show my respect to you, and I don't want you to think that I'm being disrespectful. Now, if you fuck around with those fuck arounds, I'm not going to misgender you or identify you any way that you don't want to be identified, but I am going to correct you. And I don't want you to think that correction is coming out of any kind of transphobia, homophobia, whatever kind of phobia you're going to come up with. No, this is based off of your actions, and we can talk about that. All right, and you,
Or it could be general and neutral when I cuss your ass out because bitch and motherfucker works for everybody.
and it does.
Exactly.
That's a general neutral term. When I say nigga, I'm not
Okay?
talking about a man out here. I'm talking about everybody.
I'm
Hmm.
talking about all of y'all.
Nigga.
Everybody could be a
Yeah.
hoe.
I legit told somebody, I'm like, listen here, I'm gonna respect you for who you are, but don't get twisted. I will disrespect you on the highest degree while maintaining your however you wish to be identified as. I'm like, I'm
I know that's right.
disrespectful to the nth degree. If they had a PhD in it, oh, I'll be teaching courses. Don't play with me.
Listen, you can be
'Cause I
identifying
remember I
as
told a trans woman in I was at a bar. I was literally my business. She bumped into me. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. And she got rude with me. I'm like, hold up, hold up. I legit told her I will beat you like the woman you claim to
I was about
be.
to say,
That's
mind you,
what
you
I
see the fight.
like, I don't care. Do you have hands? By all means, we can go run them outside real now.
Right. Because
I even
anybody can get them.
and I told her partners next to her, I'm like, I fight men too. If you're talking to a person who will fight children and the elderly, you think I'm gonna fight you?
She said, my hands are rated E for everybody.
everybody.
I work
They're
with kids
respectful of
and I
all.
work with everybody. So I'm like, my hands are rated E for everyone. If I fight kids and the elderly, what makes you think you are safe?
Right. No one
Mm-mm.
here is a
No,
minority. Everybody is equal on this planet.
Oh yeah, I hate everyone equally.
there's some truth
But
about
don't get
fighting
below
kids.
the dislike. If I don't like you, I'm very clear about that because I cannot afford to have you thinking we're friends and I run into you at the grocery store and I walk right past you.
Right.
No, I needed to know right away. I don't like you. Don't talk to me if we're out. If we're at work, I'll be civil. Outside of work,
And I think
paper means more to me
that's
than you.
a conversation that needs to be happening a lot more because people be thinking just because I say, hey, we're friends. No, my mama raised me right. Okay.
Having basic
You can't be
courtesy.
calling everybody your friend.
Courteous. Yeah.
That's all it is. My mama raised me right, and she told me that I need to make sure I address everybody that's in the room, and I'm saying hey to everybody. Now,
Basic
if
decency.
you want to know whether or not I really like you, ask me because I don't have a problem telling
Please.
you. Never did. Till
Please
your
ask me
face.
before you just start assuming stuff.
Don't assume we're friends. Do not. Do not.
Because
If
you're gonna get
I'm
your feelings hurt at Kroger.
look, if you
I'm like,
do
I
not
don't know
have
you.
my phone number, we are not friends. I don't know
That
you.
part.
If I am
We don't
not
know her.
actually ready to text you, have a phone conversation with you, mm-mm. You have
So
my phone number for work purposes only. If it's not about work, why the fuck are you calling me?
we ain't friends. Don't call me up online.
Look,
Stop her running my minutes up. Despite we not being in the air, we got to pay for
Run
minutes
my
no more.
minutes.
look, bleep, 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 bleep. I'm Vernon. Tyrone just left me, bitch. That's something that you gotta deal with. Why are you calling me?
You knew Tyrone was shit.
Like,
Right.
why are we talking about this? You need to
I'm like,
talk to
my
your
office
therapist,
hours
talk to
are.
your friend, talk to our
Not my office
supervisor
hours.
because
Man, post
why?
on Reddit.
Who's on Reddit?
I legit
You'll
told
have
my
all kind of
sisters that once.
responses.
I'm like, girl, every time I talk to you, talking about the same fuck shit with this ain't shit nigga. Post on Reddit. I'm getting tired of hearing you.
I'm so
Right. They'll tell you
A
everything you do
Reddit
and never
account
need
is
to know.
free and anonymous.
I am so done. Reddit actually has some good porn on there.
Actually, some people really do be using Reddit as their little diary. I'm like, by all means, however you need to get it out and not bother people with the same story.
That's how you
The
do it.
people on Reddit do not listen. They're like, I want to stay in a relationship, even though clear signs of them not liking you. You're gonna stay? Okay. Not my business.
Not at all.
It was a
Speak
good read though. Thank you very much for the 5 minute read that I got. But ain't my business.
this refill game is beautiful. Oh my god.
Listen, the way she turned
I
her
Child.
was
camera off,
wondering because I
opened
was
it like
like,
nobody was gonna hear
Like
it,
I'm
and
trying to
just
figure out
pour a
what to
little
do
bit. I
next.
saw
so
her.
much. I
I
never
keep
get sick with it,
noticing.
y'all. Like I'm
I
like,
keep
okay,
Shane said,
now
check the
I'm
bar.
convinced. Like when they use the cups on Love Island and Love Is Blind, where you can't see through them, I need that because you're clocking what I'm putting in my cup, and I feel like it was like this at the start of the show. This is just where
Like
it's
these
at.
are
It
all
was.
recipes on the
You a slow
wall.
sipper, Kristen. I don't even know. Like, do you feel any of the wine that you drank? Because it's like you just didn't drink any at all.
So y'all want me to tell y'all a secret?
Ooh,
It's
yeah.
not even wine. It's actually IPAs. So am I feeling it?
Wait, what's IPA? Wait, is that the non-alcoholic stuff that is like
No, no, they're
No, it's
craft
very
beers.
alcoholic.
Usually
Yeah.
Oh,
very they have very high
child.
levels of
What?
alcohol.
I heard of that non-alcoholic brand that's essentially just shrooms, and I was like, bitch, I might want to
Oh,
try
speaking of
that.
shrooms, my mom sent me some in the mail.
Bitch, not your
Oh,
mom.
that's nice.
I told you I never. Me and my parents may have been divorced. I'm really close to both my parents. My mom be shipping me shit in the mail. I'm like, is this legal?
Mm.
It doesn't matter. Just let me
You
know
can
what you
buy them
think.
off
I'll stop
Amazon,
my these
so
and try it.
I support.
I'm
I
actually about to
support.
make one of these drinks later on tonight, or no, Sunday night because I'm off Monday, so I'm having a ball.
Bitch,
Yeah,
why I
These
just
are
all
No,
right.
realized
recipes.
that's right.
those are drinks in the background. Why did I not notice that?
I see
They're
it now. I
Right.
didn't
recipes.
see it either. I thought
Listen,
it was
I
just
see it
regular
now because I
artwork
thought there were
on the plastic
flowers.
cups.
Nope, honey
Yeah,
bear.
flowers with a name and some other shit. It's
Yeah,
drink
sex on the
recipes.
beach, smoking
Damn,
drugs,
alcoholic,
acting.
yes.
It's
Uh,
the librarian with drink recipes on the wall for me. I love
you
it.
know who I've been
I
with
love
all
it.
day?
These niggas.
I love it.
Man, I work with. I
She
work in
said, "You
East
don't see the
Making.
stocked bar behind me? This is my office."
I wish, but no. Like, what is it? My mom came back from a cruise from the Caribbeans and mailed this bitch to me.
Was that the white Hennessy? I can't really.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
a
even
good
sure if I'm
one.
ever gonna
Girl.
open this.
Well, that it burns. That shit burns.
Hey Vernon, I got something for you whenever you visit. You remember these days?
Ooh, girl, okay.
I
Wait,
don't like it.
it's not the
I
honey
don't
though.
care for crowns, so
I'll be there soon.
by all means. I mean, if you can help me clear out some of these liquor bottles, I've had some of these for some time.
Girl,
But
well, I don't like buying liquor, so if I could get anything for free.
this was a
Speaking
birthday
of which,
gift from my boyfriend. It's mead.
oh, but he couldn't get the Sir Davis. I'm
The
judging
who?
Sir Davis. We had the conversation about it.
Oh
We don't
yeah.
purchase that ourselves. We find the gay friend, and that's still because we know they
I have
have
a couple gay friends. Hold up, I'm at the see. Like, hold up. One's a furry. I'm like, I know you got. Come on, I know you got the money.
send the message, girl, because they got it.
Like, I went to. Remember, I told you I went to the furry convention.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like,
Wait, who besides me have tried Sir Davis? And this is not an
Haven't
ad for
yet.
Beyonce.
Haven't yet.
I wouldn't mind trying it, but I just not have
Find your
cared enough to
gay
look into it.
friends.
They got
They
them.
got it.
Okay, okay.
I'm at the. No, you're talking
Right.
about a very specific gay friend, though. It's
The
not
one
every
with
gay
the
friend.
one with the white boyfriend.
Right. I was gonna say the scammer.
Or the scammer girl. Can we talk about the scammer gay friend? Can we talk about the
Wait,
scammer gay friend?
I love mine because I gotta check in with them and be like, all right, this is my Christmas list. I need to make sure I give everybody items. So
Not
when
this
you
What
hitting
do
up
you
scammer.
look,
know?
when you hitting up Dick's Sporting Goods, I need these sizes and sweatsuits. Like, don't play me.
What
Give me
gift
Right.
card
prices.
you
Listen, by
have
all
that I
means,
can
get
use
how
right
you get it.
now?
Because most of my edibles come from my disabled cousin going to Michigan, my mama's money to buy me and my mama some edibles, and then my mama mailed them to me.
Yes.
I
I
got
get it.
that.
How you get it?
I get
By
it.
all means, I will milk my disabled cousin until that bitch dies. And when she finally passes, I'm gonna be pissed because I'm like, damn, I can't get the good shit no more.
You are my resource, bitch. But I
Like,
get
I'm
it.
about to get another shit. Vernon, this is not the
Is
type
this
of
illegal? What you about to say is illegal?
no. Like there's an edible shit like ice cream cones.
Oh no, I cannot do this.
They're great.
I believe it.
Shit, I had a great time. I was
Child.
legit putting shit together. I'm like, I am high as fuck. Why am I out here with the impact driver? I'm like, oh shit, I'm finally like a real lesbian.
How? All right, don't get these lesbians up on this damn podcast
Like,
starting
let's
up
be
with
real.
that.
Oh,
We
That
all know the construction lesbian.
lesbians are
We all know that
it's
one
giving
lesbian that
butch.
literally
It's
can put
giving
anything
butch.
together for no goddamn reason.
It's giving
Bob
the
the
it's
Builder.
it's
Yes.
giving statty. It's
right.
giving statty. It's giving
Like,
statty.
bitch,
That's
come
stud
over,
daddy for those
glance
who
at the
don't know.
instruction and put it together perfectly. Like, how? Wait a minute.
The ones that can change your oil.
Hmm.
Oh,
They're the ones that U-Haul are
the,
advertising towards.
bitch, the finances are always together.
Always.
Oh, so if there's a statty out there who just wants them a man, just for the play, just know I'm always available.
For tax purposes.
For text, listen,
Tax
we have Trump in
purposes.
office. If you need a husband,
If you need a husband, if you would like to have a lavender relationship, hit Vernon up.
You know.
I'm here for all the statties. I'm here for all the statties. Okay,
No,
just
like
letting
my
y'all know.
mom has, of course, there's the classic rings, like the like peach rings. My mom sent me a lot of stuff. I don't even know what half of them do. I'm scared of some of them. I'm like, that looks painfully high.
Your mama's crazy. I love it.
My mom, I swear, my mom's a whole ass criminal. Bernie, you
Well,
were
she
raised,
raised the criminal, so
huh?
She raised the criminal. Oh, damn.
you do we
I'm not
need
no
to
damn
do
criminal,
we need to talk about high school, Shay?
huh?
Do we need to
No.
talk about high school, Shay?
I
No.
did what in high school?
Look, leave
Okay,
her alone.
we're not gonna talk about high school, Shay. She made it
Oh,
out of that.
high school Shane was breaking faces. Okay,
A criminal
listen. That's because I'm a nerd.
and a
With the
criminal.
like I was a whole scene kid in high school. Okay.
I was a
Are you
nerd.
from Macon?
No, I'm from Tennessee.
Oh, nobody
Oh,
claims
okay.
that.
I was a whole scene kid, one of like two scene kids, two black scene kids in the entire school. Yeah, I got my fair share of bullying. I broke a fair share of noses. I'm like, by all means, we can run this fade all day.
Criminal.
No, that's defending myself. I got bullied so
Well,
kids can walk today.
Where's the lie?
I got bullied for liking rock music, dressing like the white kids, like an anime. Nah, playing video games. I got severely bullied and broke faces so these kids can enjoy it
so
now.
that so
because
that
they
you
are
can run.
definitely
You
enjoying it now.
you
Nah,
Oh,
broke
they
my
are
parents were
enjoying
so
it
you
paying
can
to
so
the
they could
run.
fullest.
have that freedom. All the blurs, I was bullied severely so they can be proud and happy about it. Now I'll still crack a face over Spider-Man and Sailor Moon. Watch me.
Okay, I don't know about Spider-Man, but I get you on Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon, yeah.
The reason why I like
Sailor Moon could do
Spider-Man so
it.
much, he was a regular kid with the same net worth as me.
Bitch,
Mm.
I'm done. I'm getting off.
The representation. Shane
But
said the
It
I'm like,
representation
matters,
was
the
right?
real.
It
facts, the
matters.
facts.
I'm like,
Taking us
finally
all
a
the way
girl
Miss
back
kid
to
Peter
the
Parker
first
was
question.
alone.
Yes, it
poor.
matters.
Peter Parker was struggling
Right.
out here.
Right. Living with his auntie and just
Working
trying to
two
do
jobs to
things
pay
and be a
rent.
different
I'm like,
kid. Right.
So, well, since we here and we talking about comic books and everything, and we all know Vernon loves to slander Batman. Are we going to have this conversation today, or am I in a safe space to slander that motherfucker and all the
nope,
wrong that
Vernon,
he
you
has
know you're
done?
safe for me.
How
You
did
be
we
in the
Batman?
how
things
did we get here?
What did
Listen,
Batman
Get
do?
here.
this
All
rich
you heard was comic
motherfucker,
and then it
all
just
that
played
motherfucker
out
had was
to
privilege.
Batman. What did we
That
what
motherfucker had
what
all the privilege. Batman voted for Trump this year. Fuck that
did we I
nigga.
knew it. I knew that.
Batman said, I see
I
the
knew it.
opportunity. I see the space for motherfuckers to act up. Put that nigga Trump up in there. Let me beat some more asses while they get on these damn streets and steal some shit. That's what Batman did. Fuck
Okay.
him.
That's a whole new perspective. I don't think I've ever went that deep with
Listen,
Fuck that
Batman.
rich
But
hoe
now that I
Batman.
know,
ever. Batman is a
damn.
billionaire and he is part of that 1%. Hell, he might be part of the 0.5%. Like,
mm,
Listen, his entire costume was bought and paid for.
mm,
We got Green. We got all these other motherfuckers who got
Man,
their
listen, Batman
free.
is literally the only motherfucker I know who can steal so many white kids and not get in trouble.
Ooh, not you talking about the entire
He
crew.
only ever adopted one officially, and then one is his biological son. Everyone else is rolled up. He's like, "You're coming
Not
with me now,"
talking about the bad crew, bitch.
and the only one that called him out on that shit was Jason Todd, and they killed his ass for it.
Ooh.
Mm.
And this is why I support Joker.
Bro,
Fuck it all up.
that's a wild take.
Fuck it all up.
Okay, I'm like you. You
Joker
would
called
love
him out on his
the
shit.
storyline where the Joker actually finds out that Bruce Wayne is Batman, steals a good chunk of that money,
As he should.
and then uses that money to terrorize Gotham.
As he should. Because this motherfucker is already Where does the weapons come from? Who is developing the weapons that are inflicted on the people of Gotham? What's his name? Bruce Wayne.
Elon Musk.
Well, that too.
Elon Musk would be like what, Lex Luthor or something.
Do not give him that
Lex
much strength
Luthor?
because he is not that smart.
Fair
That's
enough.
true.
Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Lex Luthor spending like multi-million dollars just to
Listen.
fuck with Superman about running for president was still one of the best flexes of my life.
Lex Luthor is
He's like, I
actually
spent.
Bezos.
Is what Thanos?
Jeff Bezos.
Oh, Jeff Bezos.
Oh, it sounded like all I heard was
Yeah.
the Empire. I was like, what?
The reason why, because when those that the rumors of the news came out and this motherfucker was just like release it, I was like, that's some nigga shit right there. I respect you, Jeff Bezos, for that shit. Release the news? Okay, please do, because I want to see now.
You know what? Jeff Bezos been the quietest billionaire I've heard in a while.
Oh, he's still acting up.
Mm-hmm.
That
Like
bitch is acting up.
it's in
He's just
silence.
quiet. That's why
Mm-hmm.
he's Lex. Because nobody knew what the fuck Lex Luthor was doing. The only person who knew what Lex Luthor was doing was Superman, and that was because they were fighting each other.
Also, because
Y'all are above me right now, okay? Who is Superman with Clark Kent? I think he like Lois. Batman got a fire ass
I don't
car,
think
and outside of that, I don't know, y'all. I don't know.
I'm a
I
Green
don't
Lantern
know.
fan.
really,
Uh, well, actually, I'm a Blue Lantern fan. The people of hope, I love them. Green Lantern just like, you know what? I'm here. It's green. It's all good.
well, depending on the Green Lantern, some will run a fade and when not even blinking. It's like, put them up.
What was their thing? Isn't it? Is the Green Lantern courage or some shit like that?
No, no the fucking colors. You know I'm colorblind anyway. I ain't know there's a blue one. Fuck that.
Go away.
I know the orange one was evil.
I think theirs was anxiety or fear. It's like
Anxiety.
they're not
That's freaking
necessarily
hilarious. Can you imagine you being an evil villain powered by anxiety? If he came to the U.S. like right now, he would be unstoppable.
girl. I might need to change my core. I might need to change my core. Like hope was strong, but anxiety will fuck motherfuckers up. Do I
Ooh,
need to
Inside
be
Out
Yellow
2?
Lantern?
Man, I've been so upset about being exposed like that. And I'm like,
Is
bro,
that why
you
she
have
was?
to.
Is that why she was yellow?
Yeah, anxiety is the small one with the oversized sweater and pants, looking like.
Girl, she needed to just do a little swoop dupe on the hair a little bit because she was cute or whatever, but you know, a little.
But yes, so they added angst, anxiety, and one more. Inside Out 2 is actually a really good
It
movie.
was really good. I'm ennui.
Like I'm so sad. I'm like, dang, why Bruce?
No, nostalgia, bitch. Nostalgia gave me life. Not the
That's what
old
deal with
lady.
nostalgia. Nostalgia had me feeling old. I'm like, damn.
Girl, no, not until the weddings and not until I was like, damn, bitch, I'm in my 30s experiencing nostalgia. What you trying to tell me, bitch?
Man, nostalgia
Am I
was
old?
dramatic, and I loved it.
Oh god. Have y'all seen Inside Out?
The first one, I didn't watch the second one yet.
Inside
Yeah,
Out.
the second one is really good as well. Like it's actually a decent sequel, which is a rarity in a lot of movies. It's actually a very good sequel. Instead of keeping what's her name, Riley?
Mm-hmm.
instead of keeping her the same age, she's actually slightly older, entering her teen years. So they introducing new emotions to coincide with her entering a different phase of life, and they handled it really well.
They did.
Like I said, anxiety. I never felt so exposed in my life.
Girl, I
Mm.
was listening to the
I felt
read
exposed in the first one.
that
That too. You know what? You know what? Yeah, 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 yeah.
like I was
I think
listening.
when it came out, I wasn't in a good space. I was just like, I just feel like, because I remember how the first one made me feel, and I was just like, I just feel with the second one, like it's just gonna expound on that, and I don't think I'm in a healthy place to deal with it right now.
No,
I
no,
don't feel
no,
like I
that's
should be able
valid.
I'm in a
to.
healthy place now.
No, valid. If I didn't have my anxiety under control right now, oh yeah, that would movie would like, yep, click. I'm going to lay down real quick and be depressed. Sadness, do your thing, baby girl. And this calm.
Right.
Like I was
Take over.
listening to the read, right, and they were talking about like IFS and like what the emotions represent and all this other stuff and the messages that you get from watching film. And one of the things that Crystal mentioned is that Riley is a secure. She has a secure background in terms of like emotional attachment and all that, and her lived experience. She has parents who care for her, who have these conversations, and they mention like what would be different for a child who doesn't have a secure relationship, and that just blew my mind because it's like, and I even think about her parents and who's at the helm in their little stations, and like
Mhm.
mom is ran by her depression, and dad is ran by his anger,
Anger.
and I'm just like, can we look into that a little bit? Can we
Mm.
explore those other people
Hmm.
who have experiences
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
their lead emotion is somebody that's different? Like somebody
Yeah.
who has that trauma and what emotions look like for that person who has that trauma. And I was just like, ooh, Inside Out. Come
I
on,
would also
bring
like
the
to know like what
cheese.
years it set place in. Like,
Mm,
Mm.
they're not really clear like how like what year, because let's be real, if it sets place in like any time before like the 2000s, before like there was a big push for men to show their emotions,
mm,
even now we
Hmm.
still fight to have men be accepted for showing emotions outside of anger. Like, could that be a reason why like he can't express his emotions, so everything is bottled up until like it gets to that peak moment and he just explodes? Or could it be a symptom also of depression?
mm,
Mm.
Depression isn't always sadness. Sometimes it manifests in other forms. So like it would be really cool to see like what's going on with the parents, to see where they're coming from.
mm. That would be so good. And even if it
Yeah.
was placed in today's society, just recognizing who will be at the helm of the what is that? The monitor or whatever the fuck it is, who will be at the helm in a lot of people's brains in this moment. Granted, I
Mhm.
already know sadness will be like having a field day right now for a lot of people. Like, okay, so since we're here, let's go ahead and do the thing, right? But it's interesting, most definitely, because like for people who do not recognize their emotions and people who don't have those kind of conversations with themselves and watch that film, they can start to actually place those things where they need to be. Like how sadness does not have to just be a bad emotion for one, but how sadness can be connected to depression and like that embarrassment. The reason why, like in the second movie, embarrassment and sadness gets has this little kind of flirty relationship is because sometimes when we are embarrassed, we are sad.
Hmm.
It's like a leading
Mhm.
emotion to that. So it's like, yeah, it will be fast. I'm just excited to see the next step of Riley and her journey, or just her emotions and how those develop a lot further as the series, develops and whatnot. I'm so looking forward to what
And
DreamWorks has in store for us. Like,
it low
snatch my
key,
wig, Disney, snatch it.
like it low key's touched on something that a lot of people don't talk about. Cause Joy was like, she has to be happy. She has to be happy. Sadness, go back to your corner, kind of deal.
Mm,
It was low key touching on toxic positivity.
Mhm.
that
Mm.
So it's like that push, like why are you sad? You have no reason to be sad. Riley, the main character, like she moved from everything she knew. Even as an adult, like we may not, like we know what to expect because we planned it. That's what we wanted to do. But we still have that anxiety that follows us. Like, what if it doesn't work out? What if X, Y, Z? But with the child, it's the anxiety and the unknown. They don't know why we're moving. They just get like a brief explanation, like mom or dad got a new job. I think in this case, Riley's dad got a new job. So they had to move to a completely different state. She doesn't know anything about this. The Midwest, and they moved to California, completely different in culture. So it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, I remember I was a military kid. Yeah, I noticed like to move from one location to another and know nobody. It's depressing. You feel alone.
Hmm.
You feel like you can't go to your parents because like they're excited for the move. They already knew what to expect. So you just feel alone and sad, and it's okay to feel sad. You gotta make sure people understand that. You cry. Crying is actually good for you if you don't overdo it. Let's be real. So we know people who cry just because the wind is too cold. But if you're feeling sad, express it in a healthy manner. Don't go and like mope on someone's couch for 3 days. No, don't do that. If you need to cry, cry. That goes for anyone. If you need to cry, let it out. You will feel a lot better. Still sad, but at least you got that lump out the way.
Mhm.
I really love Inside Out. I may actually
Yeah.
buy it.
Girl, I'm gonna rewatch that tonight. I'm
Yeah,
not.
I'm not trying to be in my feelings. No,
I need
I'm
to be
gonna
in my
sit down
feelings.
and watch Jerry Springer.
I still want to watch it, but yeah, I gotta watch something. I've been trying to watch like things that are funny and just like a lot of different things. Like I like a good, like I love action movies and comedies and stuff like that, rom-coms and stuff, but I've been staying away from just certain genres just because even if it's not something that's blatantly going to make me in my feelings, like even something that might get my thoughts there, I'm just like, no, I just need to laugh or something. I don't want to do too much heavy thinking right now,
That's fair.
mental heavy lifting.
Oh well,
That's
if you
Yeah,
have Max, there's this show called It's Florida Man.
I did see that.
Absolutely,
I saw that
I
last
know
night.
it's
What is it
ratchet.
about?
I know it's ratchet.
Ratchet is one thing that I'm like, bro, this sounds like some Floridian nonsense for sure. Like one episode is literally a guy swimming in a random lake that he found.
It's not
I
a real
truly
state.
believe he was on something through that the entire time in that period when he said he was doing it. Lost his arm to a gator, and it was still like
No
a
way.
that
Couldn't have
wasn't
foretold that.
no, that wasn't even the wildest part of the story.
You don't swim in Florida.
That wasn't even the wildest part of the story. I'm like, bro, you lost an arm, and then
That's not the
it's
wild.
that's not the
That's
wild
where
part.
that's where I'm at. I was like, I'm waiting for the rest. Now I gotta watch it.
It's
First, you
not
got
even
in
the
the water.
wildest part.
Child, one of the lessons, well, one of the things that someone told me when it comes to any body of water in the state of Florida, you do not go in because there's a strong possibility that there's a gator in that motherfucker, and I am
Didn't
not.
didn't they find one in a puddle?
Girl, I'm quite
Or like
certain
the
in the
ditch on
state
the
of
side of the
Florida.
road?
I'm quite certain in the state of Florida, there's an alligator in every single fucking raindrop. I am not testing. I'm not. Ain't no way. I'm not
I,
doing this.
I know for a fact I ain't built
Yeah.
for it. I'm like,
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
Mm-mm.
mm-mm.
I grew up.
I'm
I grew up
allergic.
partly in the bayou. I was already hopping snakes and gators. I ain't going nowhere near a body of water that I know
A
for a
snake?
fact or potentially. Yeah, you never been in the bayou? Man, the number of times we had to wear rubber boots because our granddaddy sent us out to go hunt crawfish, and I didn't realize until I got older. I'm like, this old man did not care about us.
Not at all, but fresh
He
crawfish.
said, "Be safe. I covered your ankles." Like, what are we
Listen,
doing?
listen. You are covered
Exactly.
by the Lord. Do everything that you need to do to get these crawfish up in this house. I'm not doing it, but you do
He
everything.
Oh,
literally had
God protects the
like his
young and the
grandkids
dumb.
outside, and but sometimes not even without gloves. We up here sticking our hands down these massive like
Mm-mm.
crawfish build up. So like we would knock off the top part, stick her hand down. It's like ha 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 ha.
What was the
Uh,
yield? How many
And y'all
crawfish did
thought that
y'all?
this was a game and it was fun, right?
We were
We
kids.
lived a dangerous we
So
lived a dangerous life as children.
how
We
many
did.
crawfish were on the table at the end of this? That's the real
I mean,
question.
Depends on the season. Sometimes we just went out to get them to add some little flavor into the dish. But if we actually went out for a crawfish haul, we definitely weren't getting enough for everybody because we were kids.
Oh,
We can't carry that much.
that's fair. Damn.
But he
yeah, I
definitely had
couldn't
my
imagine.
you don't be sending kids out there. You know, kids today won't survive the way we did.
Hell no, they could barely survive going out riding the bike without a helmet on. You don't have a map, no Google Maps, no
I'd be
maps to tell you
worried.
where you're going. You just, I hope you know how
Man,
to get there and back.
we navigated
Goodness
based off the
gracious.
trees. Like I know this tree.
Right. I know that tree.
That's that's the light post
That's so
to
and so's
grandma's
house.
house.
Right. Right.
We went by
We 6 blocks
landmarks. We like
away.
street names.
Mm-mm.
I didn't learn street names till I
No,
was like in my teen years. I'm like, this has a street
yeah.
name?
Hmm.
that's
I knew
funny.
my address because you have to memorize your address. But other than that, I'm like, what the fuck is a street name? There's there's that weird windmill right there that we turned left at to get to Johnny's house.
Bitch, how did we survive? Jesus.
I don't
Did
even know. I was thinking about
critical
that. I'm like,
thinking.
Fair.
Critical
if
thinking.
Knowing how to read, knowing how to
Mm,
comprehend what we read.
mm-hmm.
we knew what to touch
Mm-hmm.
and what not to touch.
Girl,
Right.
important
Right.
skills. Important skills.
Important skills.
I don't know what that mushroom
What's
is, and I'm not
crazy?
trying to die today. I'm not trying that.
What's crazy is our generation is gonna be the Bear Grylls of the new generation. You know what I mean?
Bro.
Like it sounds like we was out here doing crazy stuff and surviving and stuff, and these kids are just like, I don't even understand how you survived a mile outside of your house. I'm like, because I didn't need a map. Like I knew where I
Man,
was
I
going.
was 4 miles
I
away
paid
from my house on
attention.
a regular.
I knew my neighborhood. I knew how
Right.
to get the fuck
You
home.
right. You 10 miles away from your house. How do we get 10 miles? But imagine these days. How is my child 10 miles away from here without me? What? They barely know their address for real.
Oh god,
Nah,
this
we were kicked out the house and told to go play, and we were somewhere.
yeah,
Yeah,
We're outside playing, but
around.
we were somewhere.
this is a
Right.
reminder that I cannot get sick until I die. I just can't. I don't trust these doctors. These new doctors. What? When were you born? Was it COVID or after COVID? I
Show
need
me
to
your
know.
ID, please.
I need to see your fucking ID
Right.
because I don't put my hand in anybody who was born after 2007. Mm-mm, mm-mm. No, not at
Yeah.
all. Not at
People are
all.
already doing that with
Right.
nurses. They're like, I need an older nurse. Get in.
I,
Mm-mm.
Mhm.
you don't
Right.
know how to read, bitch. We're not doing it.
Right.
You
Y'all
know
came
how to
out
work
thinking you learned
a
everything in them
laptop,
books.
an
No.
iPad, a tablet. You know how to work those, but do you know how to work my fucking heart? No.
Correct.
No, they
Correct.
would.
Listen, my heart care is on AI. I'm not doing that. I'm not Chat GPT define what this motherfucker needs. I'm not doing that. Mm-mm.
No, like
Mm-mm.
I can't even tell you how me and my siblings or my cousins we're literally a pack of feral children. No, that's
Well,
that's the best way to describe it. We were literally sent outside to the wilderness
Mhm.
from the time it's like okay, so we'll wake up, eat breakfast, get dressed, get out the house. We were literally kicked out. Unless it was raining, the
Outside.
sun is out. Go. We we were terrorizing nature. The number of turtles and snakes we caught,
Oh
and just
wow.
like we got a pet, and we're like told to let it back out, but we couldn't let it out in the yard because they didn't want to bother with it, so we had to take it back where we found it until they found out how far away we were. We found it.
girl, this reminds me of a student of mine who tried to lie to me that she did not use Chat GPT to write her paper.
Oh
Yep.
my god.
I hope you passed her. Just
I
let her
told her
go.
directly. I was like,
Just let her
sis.
go. Let her
I was
go.
like, girl, this is
Let her
not
go.
you. One, you provided this essay in less than 5 minutes after you got into this class. Redo.
Well, she could have did that better.
Right, and
She
then
could.
30
She could
minutes
at least
later,
waited 2 days.
30 to 40 minutes later, she sends another one. I'm like, "Girl, this is given that this was used with AI, because this is not even going
Right.
off of the topic that I asked you to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Redo this." In her response, "I wrote that." I was like, "Oh, well, if you wrote this, well, I'm glad to hear that you wrote this. So let me go ahead and make sure you're in the right class." And I teach the under level and the upper level, right? This was the under level. Let me make sure you're in the right class. Send the message over. What's her test results? Let me know. They sent back, well, based
Hmm.
off of her test results, this is what class she's supposed to be in. So, girl, how you writing like this? I don't write like this. What's going on here? You telling me that you're an expert here?
Mm.
This
Mm.
generation.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'll use ChatGPT to read them, like to give me the main points of an article, because I'm like reading that bitch. I'm like,
Fair.
main points. Thank you so much for giving me the main idea of this thing, because some of it be wordy, and I just don't want to read it.
I get
I'm
it.
like,
Get it.
Fair.
My
why is
only
this?
Need the
thing
TLDR version.
Yes.
my only thing is just don't submit these things when you know you didn't do it. And it's
Oh yeah.
okay. It's okay.
Well, I will actually. We
Don't
didn't have a chance.
don't test my knowledge because I know how to write. I know how to read as well.
Chat GPT came out after we finished. I'm like, dang, they got
Right.
some cool
But
stuff.
they would have put some kind of restriction on that, just like they did with Google when Google first came out and we had to write papers and stuff. They're like, oh, Google can't be one of your sources, or no, Wikipedia can't be one of your sources. I'm like, it's a digital encyclopedia. Like, why can't
Right.
we use it? But yeah, Chat GPT now, I was
It's
like,
crazy.
where's the creativity? Where's the research? Where's the, sitting on the computer
Skills.
looking through 50 articles to find 15 that you could use properly, or even go into the library and look at actual books. Like
Right.
all that is gone.
Lordy. Okay. So we are near the end because it's like almost 9 o'clock, like 1 minute away. So for any person who has a last message that they want to share about how to find some sense of normal in this new information that is after this election, what information would you like to share to them about how they can um, find normality, how they can find some kind of balance for themselves, or even any kind of self care tip that you would like to share for them? And after that, I will close this out. So, whoever wants to start first, feel free to share.
I'll go in
Um,
order. Look, just give yourself grace. Look, give yourself grace and surround yourself around like minded people and individuals that kind of understand where you are and meet you where you are. And feel free to express those feelings. So just surround yourself in more safer spaces if that is a thing. But make sure you're very vocal about how you're feeling and connect with those people who not only are willing to listen, but have an idea of where you're coming from.
Yes, yes. All right.
I agree with that. I would say also, um, like definitely big on to give yourself grace. Feel the feelings that you feeling. Um, Create new boundaries or readjust the boundaries that you had set in place before, and redefine them if you need to. Um, and don't feel pressured by anybody on either side or wherever to feel like you need to be at a certain place, or you need to have something like this is really the time to really figure out what is necessary for you and what's going to help you with getting through the next day, the next year, 4 years, whatever. So like, really take your time to consider what you truly need, what that looks like for you, for sure. Um, just like Kristen said, stay around like-minded individuals, people who will allow you to feel your feelings and are safe spaces. Someone who's going to hold space for you. And if you can hold space for other people, reciprocate that, because this is definitely a time where we need a certain type of community within our community. So Definitely look towards that. Talk to your therapist. If you're not in one, find something free for a while. If you need to, um, do a lot more meditating or just sitting in silence or whatever. Like, try to not overstimulate yourself because we're trying to keep that fight or flight down as much as possible.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta follow behind these two. They listed everything so gracefully and so wonderfully. But yeah, definitely give yourself grace. Find people that you can connect with who understand what you're going through and who you are. Definitely uh, reaffirm or readdress your boundaries. That's gonna be very important. Also, from my little tidbit, if it helps you, create a to-do list for every day. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It could literally just be get out of bed, brush your
Mm.
teeth, do laundry. You start off simple. Don't overwhelm yourself. Yeah, your little bit may seem like nothing to other people, but to you, it could be a major step towards recovery. So be patient with yourself. Don't measure your progress to someone else. Everyone else gets through everything differently. No matter how you start the race, you just finish it.
Finish
So
it.
yeah, give yourself grace. Set something that you can stick to. Don't go over what you believe you can. Don't overestimate yourself, but also don't underestimate yourself. You're stronger than you think you are. You got this. We'll make it through.
Yes, yes. Well, I'll say my final message before I close everything out is just focus on love. Let's try our best to separate ourselves from what hatred is and what dislike of others may be. Let's find a place where we can honor those people that we don't disagree with, well, that we do disagree with, and also be willing to set the boundaries that you need to protect your peace, to protect your identity, to protect the safety that you need for yourself because you deserve all the great things in life. And not everybody's going to be there to root for you, and accepting that and knowing the type of people who are going to be there for you. Create that community that is going to be here to support you when you're down as well as when you're up, and knowing who those people are. So, with that being said, for those who are here, Kristen, Nicole, Shane, I do want to thank y'all so much for, as well as Sin, for taking this time to be with us, be with myself as well as the audience who are going to hear this soon. I appreciate you so much. Thank y'all so much for taking the time tonight. And to the audience, thank y'all so much for listening to the Holy Podcast, where we step out and speak on sexuality. And for my message that I love to give to you all, just in case no one else told you this today, you are beautiful. You are worthy of happiness and joy. You are enough and then some. You may not live up to the expectations of others, but that is okay. You are only required to walk in your own shoes. May each day you live lead you towards abundance. And with that said, I love you all, and I will see you all next episode. Bye.